Hello, hello. Welcome to Oahu. That's where I am. Believe it or don't, it's real. I'm here with my best friend, Taro. We are just best friends. She's not a cat. She's just my best friend. Don't get it twisted. Welcome to this Hawaiian tropical vacation that I'm going to be bringing you all on. All of my best friends watching from their homes right now. Isn't it the same thing? Don't you feel like you're in Hawaii with me currently? We're just such best friends, everybody. What a day. What a trip. What a life. What a world. I'm getting my massage later. I'm getting my massage later on this massage table. Hello everyone, I'm back. I took a break kind of, but not really. I was here last week, but it was just on a weird day because of July 4th, right? Right? And I ended the stream abruptly because everyone hated me. Yeah, we're gonna forget that, okay? We're gonna take that out of our minds.
This is gold, straight up.
Okay, we're gonna take that out of our minds and never think about it again. All right, collectively, forget it. No, it's okay. I am talking about today another controversial topic that should get people all in a tizzy, but we're gonna get to that second, and that's gonna be Jonah Hill. Is he a psychopathic narcissist jerk off who should never walk the face of the earth again, never appear in a movie? How dare he eat frozen yogurt at a public space, you know? Or is it just kind of like a relationship thing? Or is it both? Is it like he was wrong and also it was wrong that his ex-girlfriend released these very private text messages? Also, we're going to talk about the second half of the Jonah Hollis? Jonah Hollis. That'd be weird. Jonah Hill saga, which is the other allegations that came out afterwards. So basically, if you don't have no idea what this story is going to be, Jonah Hill, the guy from Superbad, he's been in Moneyball, he's been in Wolf of Wall Street, he's been in a lot of Hollywood movies. He just, within the last year, came out with a documentary. I have not watched it yet. I've heard good things. I think it's weird that it's all in black and white, I believe, but it's called Stutz, and it's about his therapy and his therapist, and it's like a documentary about his mental health. So anyways, that's who the actor is. I can show you him if you have no idea. Like, I only watch YouTube videos. I've never heard of Hollywood. Here isn't, well, this is an old photo, to be fair, but this is Jonah Hill. And here is Jonah Hill again, more recently. Can you see that? Zoom, baby, zoom. There. That's a good one. So there's one, so this is his ex-girlfriend right up here. This is Sarah Brady. She released a bunch of text messages from their relationship from 2021 and 2022. They dated for like less than a year, but she released a bunch of text revealing him sort of saying certain things that seemed not off color, but like controlling and weird. And she's been posting a ton about it. Like her whole stories are like talking about this issue. So we'll look into that. The second allegation though, and so basically she's saying that he was emotionally abusive to her, and here are the texts to prove it. Now we'll go through the text messages, we'll look at them, we'll evaluate them. I tend to be on the side thus far looking at the situation from my vantage point without the secondary information from the other woman who we're going to talk about in a second. I feel like she's in the wrong. She's in the wrong either way. I don't think you should release text messages of a private conversation. I think that's pretty effed up, to be honest. I will partake in the gossip, of course, it's already out there, but I think it's, kind of taking someone's private conversations and putting them public, especially when you're a public person, is kind of like messed up, in my opinion, regardless of, unless it was like, I'm going to kill everybody. And, it was a warning sign to people and she wasn't being taken seriously by the police or something. That's one thing. But when it's just sort of like your relationship drama, I'm not personally into that. Now, the second thing that came out after his ex-girlfriend, Sarah Brady, again, came out with these allegations, then a Hollywood, I guess she's still in Hollywood, but she was on Zoe 101, and she's been a big advocate against, sexual predators in Hollywood. Here she is. Oops. Alexa Nichols, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. She made some claims about Jonah when she was 16. She's now 31, so she's almost my age. I'm 32. When she was 16, that he came onto her at a party and like basically sexually assaulted her at a party. So that happened after. That's a separate story. I think that's interesting and important to bring up and talk about, but we're going to do the text messages first. But before we do all that, that's a preview, okay? Before we do all that, we're going to talk about another couple. This is the day of love, okay? This is a love story, and I don't care what anyone says, all right? This is a love episode. We're going to talk about Heidi Powell and her new best friend. Dave Hollis is obviously no longer her best friend anymore. Well, I guess technically, according to Heidi, Dave was her best friend and still is her best friend because she was hysterical this past weekend when she was on a kind of a rampage posting like old photos of him and videos of him. Let's see what's going on. And if you don't know who the heck Heidi Powell is, you're late to the game. You're late to this channel. Just leave now, never come back. Heidi Powell is a former, she's currently a fitness influencer, I guess, former half of the team of Extreme Weight Loss with Chris Powell, her ex-husband, and former girlfriend, and at the time of his death, ex-girlfriend of Dave Hollis, who was Rachel Hollis's ex-boyfriend. And Rachel Hollis is a self-help influencer, who you may know. But she hadn't, when Dave died, which was in February, Heidi sort of posted one thing about him, which is here. This is her, Dave has passed post. This is on Valentine's Day. So he died the weekend previous to Valentine's Day. And then she kind of went offline for a little bit. And then she came back and then she posted about him again in March a little bit to talk about her own birthday, was it? Yeah, it was her own birthday. Yeah, because his birthday was in February. So she brought him up on her own birthday for some reason. And then we didn't see him again or hear about him again until then the autopsy results came out, which if you haven't seen that video, there's a video on my channel. But he overdosed on cocaine. There was fentanyl in his system. There was alcohol in his system. He was a recovering addict by his own admission. He had not come out publicly that he was, he had relapsed, but that's how he died, according to the medical examiner. And he also had a heart condition on top of that, so it didn't help. The cocaine did not help him. So she came out again in April and said this. So I think we've watched this perhaps already on the channel, maybe. But basically she just says, she kind of keeps it vague and says like, oh, we were broken up. Let's just watch it for a second. Let me shut it. Let me shut up for a second and let's hear it from Heidi. This is again from April. And then I think we're going to see how she's kind of gone backwards now. And it's like, oh, it's my love of my life. He's everything to me. We were like soulmates again. And it's like flip flopped. So here we go.
Hi guys. I shot a video earlier. It's like a 9-slide video. And the first 2 slides did not save. But the remaining 7 or however many, maybe it's 8, have everything I want to say on a topic that I've been...
And again, this guy is who we're going to be focusing on today. Fit Too Fat to Fit. He's the one that's currently with Heidi and her children in Hawaii. He lives in Hawaii. And Heidi and her 4 kids went to visit him. But they made it a big point to say they're just friends. And we're going to watch the video in which he proclaims that this is very important that the public know that they are just friends. But then they post all these like photos kind of romantically. Now, this is something that Dave and Heidi also did. If you remember, I don't know if I have it. I probably have it somewhere in my other laptop that I used before I got this computer. But there was one, people would do Q&A, they'd ask questions all the time of Dave and Heidi and they'd always, answer them. And for a long time they were saying, we're just business partners. We're best friends. Speaking of, hold on, I have it right here to proof that she said these words. Wait, where is it? Oh, here it is.
We're best friends.
That was her and Dave's proclamation. But basically someone asked, are you guys friends or are you dating? And then, or no, are you guys dating or business partners? And then they posted a picture of themselves like making out essentially, or kissing, pop kissing, I guess, like a selfie. And it said business partners. So this is not new for Heidi to kind of play off of like, oh, this is not my boyfriend. We're just friends. But then they spend every minute together. So a lot of people are speculating on Reddit and on Instagram and such that this best friend bullshit is like a cover up, that they are dating and they don't want to admit it because Dave passed away, months ago, February of this year. And maybe it looks bad to drag your kids into another relationship across the country again. Perhaps I would agree with that, but I'm being a judgmental person. Anyways, back to Dave, how she reacted to him back in April when the autopsy results came out.
Pretty darn hesitant to say anything about. And I'm kind of glad they didn't save, because I think this morning I was maybe hurt by some of the comments that I've read. Some of the DMs, some of the comments that I read toward me about the situation. And by situation, I mean, some of the information coming out around Dave's death.
Just get to
his
it.
Passing.
Come on.
So I want to say this. Hold on. Next slide. More specifically, comments around my not responding or commenting. I think the only thing I want to say to that before I play the other videos, which have everything I want to say in addition.
She never ends up playing these videos, by the way.
I don't know in a situation like this if there are words that I can say. I do know. There are no words that I can say that can make a situation better. You know, and I think sometimes people maybe forget that we all have to take care of ourselves first. We have to take care of our family. I have to take care of me first. I have to take care of my family first. And
I hate these. I watch so many of these now where people like will drag on a 20-second comment into a 4-minute video where it's like, I really wanted to come here and say that I just wanted to come on and jump on and hop on real quick because I've been thinking about this all day. It's like, get to the point, get to the point. My like attention span, it's TikTok time. I have 0.2 seconds of attention span. And after that, I don't have it anymore. Get to the point. They never do.
Part of taking care of me first is actually processing this myself. I know sometimes we see people on Instagram and we think maybe they have all of the answers. But the reality is we don't always, right? We might have answers about a specific topic that you need help on, but I'm experiencing this for the first time in my life. I've never lost anyone close to me like this. Yeah, I lost my dad, but I have an older, deeper relationship with Dave. So this is all.
That's also so crazy to me. Like her dad, I don't know, the way that she talks about her dad, and she's talked about her dad a lot on her Instagram through the years, or the couple years I've watched her, about like how great he is and how amazing he was, and he passed away, and in a very, well, not in a similar way to Dave Hollis, because he had a heart condition, I guess, which was the original, what the family said was the cause of death, but turned out that it was more complicated than that. But the fact that Dave Hollis and her had a 2-year-ish, relationship, right after he got divorced, a year after she got divorced, and they were back and forth long distance and chaotic and broke up a million times. That was a deeper, more serious relationship than her and her dad. I mean, I have a very complicated relationship with my parents. So to say like my, boyfriend is closer to me than my dad is accurate. He, like, Steven knows me more than like my dad ever will, unfortunately, I guess, or maybe fortunately. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It just is what it is. But, I don't also talk about my dad like in this flowery way on the internet where I'm like, he's a hero. It's just like I keep that stuff to myself because it's complicated. I don't know. It's just interesting, that line where she's like, oh, Dave and me had a deeper relationship than my family. And it's like, whoa, okay. Interesting.
All new to me. So I think more than anything, before I play the other videos, I just want to ask for some grace. I'm not going to do this perfectly. I don't do anything perfectly. Not even close. I probably made more mistakes in my life than the average person, because it's just, I'm an imperfect person, period. But what I do know,
it's like your boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, whatever, died from a cocaine overdose. Like, let's talk about that. What have you said so far other than like nothing?
Is that I learn from every experience. I know my heart's in the right place, but I don't need to prove that to anybody. I think the people who the people who matter to people closest to me know, and the ones that don't, if you're someone here that doesn't trust my intentions, or you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here.
I don't know. She says nothing that whole time. I don't think she says anything. So, but basically she kind of distances herself from Dave and says, we were broken up. I don't know anything. I didn't know anything, not my situation. Okay. So then we don't hear for a while. Then it goes, are you dating anyone? This is in May. And then it says, relationship status taken. Ooh, scandalous. She's taken, guys. Yes, I'm dating, currently in a very serious relationship with one person and one person only. one, numero uno, mucho onesie, okay? The most important relationship I've ever been in. And that person is me. Spoiler alert, it's me. The only person I'm ready to be in and work on a relationship with right now. You guys are kind of the set up offers. What? You guys are kind for the setup offers. Okay. So I guess people are DMing her like, I know a man that you would love to date. But it's going to be a while. I've shared most of my adult life with a man. It's time to try a different way for once. Okay. And then on the picture it says, yes, I am actually one person. Oh, because she's responding. And it's okay. So the same thing. And she's in her wedding dress in Hawaii. It's not really a wedding dress, but she made it seem like it was a wedding dress 100 times in different stories and things, alluding that her and Dave were going to get engaged, which I don't think ever actually occurred. Yeah, here's her dad up here. I've seen this photo a million times. Here's another one about how she was in Hawaii last time with Dave in this white dress, trying to give them a hint, wink, wink, perhaps. Okay, this is just like the last couple months. Okay, and then all of a sudden we get to here, and I'm going to give not a trigger warning, that's not the right phrasing, but this has made me uncomfortable. It made me extremely, extremely uncomfortable. I think I don't know if growth is the right word. I think I'm changing a little bit. I think I've been online now, chronically online for a couple years. I would say probably in 2019 is when I started to much more focus on online world. I really wasn't before that. I was very much like a live in the moment in person. Like I didn't have an iPhone until I had an iPhone in 2016, but I had like a Metro PCS, okay? Like a flip phone for the longest time. I didn't believe in the internet. I was like, this is like something that is for work and for Googling. It's not for socializing. And in 2019, I switched. I started to like watch YouTube as, whatever, as like pleasure to watch, as like, not just looking up tutorials, how to fix my fan, and then 2020, obviously I was home all the time. I really got online. 2021, I got my YouTube channel. So I'm coming into the game late, I think, especially at my age, 32. So I feel like now that I've been here for a longer time, I've been on the different platforms and on YouTube and the culture, I'm deeply uncomfortable with people oversharing on the internet. Like it's problematic. I hate it when it comes to your family, like vlog channels. Obviously, family vloggers are the bane of my existence. The kids don't have a choice. But even as an adult, we were choosing, like watching someone go through a mental breakdown on the internet drives me insane. Like it makes me feel like I'm intruding on something. Even though they're openly sharing it, I don't get anything from it other than feeling horrible for them and feeling like I don't know what to do. I can't help you. I don't know you. I can't provide anything. I'm just watching this as like I'm watching a boat sink and I can't get there. And I'm just like, ugh. That's how I felt watching Dave Hollis for a long time. Like I feel like a lot of us felt like that. Like we're just watching this kind of like descending person go, and then now he's dead. It's like, it's very hard to deal with, especially again, when we're not involved. Like I don't know this guy in real life. And yet I'm like going through grief and all this at my house. I'm like, I need to figure this out. So I'm in the process of figuring it out. I'll let you know when I have. But this made me feel, this is all to set this up. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you so much. This is all to set this up as that this is making me uncomfortable. And if you might be like that, warning right now. Okay, but first, thank you so much to Rebecca Romana. Okay, but we're talking about names. Rebecca Romana says, can finally change my last name back to a name that I can stomach instead of my legal name now that all the emailing for new jobs is done. Woo! Good job. There you go. Hold on. Congratulations. I feel like I keep missing your lives. Back to Hollisville. We will always return back to Hollisville, so it seems. It's the second I take a step away, they pull me back in. What is it, The Godfather? Once I think I leave, they pull me back in. Okay, that's a really bad
I've been an alpha female.
It's a bad impression. I just want to finish watching The Sopranos. Best show on television. The Sopranos and 6 Feet Under. Oof. I think Sopranos has my heart, but 6 Feet Under was also a great show. If you have any other show recommendations, from that time period, perhaps, or HBO shows, let me know. Rebecca Romana, thank you so much. I have to say this to you. What do I have to say to you, Rebecca? I have to say this.
Clear, clear, clear.
And also this very important message. And also, I'm going to show you my shirt for you. That's a manatee with his middle fingers up. Just for you. Thanks, Rebecca. I appreciate it. And welcome back. And I hope you get a job ASAP. We're going to send you so much love and so much light for your job search.
I'm going to send you so much love and so much light and so much good energy today because I feel like you need it.
Thank you. I have watched Breaking Bad. I have watched that one. I loved it as well, but I watched that a while ago. Okay, let's watch the Uncomfortable Heidi video. Yay! Uncomfortable. Okay. All right, ready? So let me just preview it too. It says, Happy 4th and 5th of July. Thanks for letting me share my heart here and also some of my favorite memories today. Man, grief is an interesting thing. One day I'm fine. The next, I can hardly string 3 words together without my voice shaking and tears pouring out no matter how hard I try to keep them at bay. Now, again, I have no problem with, I cry every single time I go to therapy. I cry a lot on my personal time. You know, I'm not against expressing yourself. However, I just, again, feel as a watcher, as a viewer, as a parasocial part of this world, deeply uncomfortable because it's like, again, it's just like, should I be a part of this? No, I shouldn't. And she needs help. And that's the end of it, I feel like. Okay, so she's talking about grief and she's giving all these like quotes. And okay, so she says, I'm welcoming and feeling it all these days. I'm sharing with you because I know I'm not alone. Whether it's Dave you're missing or someone you love deeply and who's lost, who and what you love deeply plus lost who's on your heart. I feel like this advice and process is too rich to not share with whoever needs it. Okay, great. Sending you so much love in your own healing. Now back to my kiddos I go, likely spending much of the day laughing with them at the greatest Dave stories. He was a funny one. I also think it's weird. Like Dave was a part of her kids' lives, obviously, for 2 years. They're going through grief too to keep bringing him up. I had a boyfriend, ex-boyfriend now, obviously, that his dad had died. My boyfriend at the time's dad had passed before we started dating, but his mother was very much still raw from it, and makes sense. It was a tragic death. But everywhere we would go, the 3 of us, it was like, oh, we were going by McDonald's. Oh, that reminds me, your dad loved McDonald's. Bring it up all the time, like always just consumed by grief and death, and like none of us could go out without talking about him. And I understand it, but especially for kids, that's a lot to stomach and to put on your shoulders, in my opinion. It's just like, kind of, can you like, how about you have this, you talk to your Dave stories with your friends. How about you write it in your journal? Like involving the children in this constant, like this boyfriend I had that lived with us for a little bit is dead. Like, let's talk about it. I don't know. It seems wrong to me. Anyways, here we go. And then it says, oh, this is the best part. Getting engagement based on your favorite Dave memory. It says, posting, okay, let's see, sending so much love and your own healing. Now back to my kiddos I go, likely spending much of the day laughing with them at the greatest Dave stories. He was a funny one. Posting as I have time, but in the meantime, feel free to share your favorite Dave memory below. Okay, here we go.
Happy 5th of July, you guys.
I gotta have a soundbite that. Happy 5th of July. The day that America woke up from a hangover in 1776.
I think that was my first holiday. That I have.
Just imagine.
I was saying that was my first holiday that I have not shown up on Insta. Man.
That's okay, girl. Girlfriend. That was the only holiday I haven't shown up on Insta. Good. Signs that you're actually getting healthier. Not getting worse, but the fact that we're posting on July 5th and crying about it on the internet we're going one step forward, two steps back. Oof.
Gosh.
I'm so uncomfortable.
This was not my intention.
Again, it's like, okay, I know, like, I feel like some people might be like, this is her sharing her heart. Okay, and she's being real. Okay, fine. But the fact that, like, again, like, you have to hold your phone as you cry and wipe the gentle tear from your eye and then pause the video and then return to the video and go, this is so hard. Just cut it, edit it. How about editing? Say what you want to say. The only reason people post this stuff is for the engagement, for the shock value of it, for the sympathy of it. And it's like, it's not real. Once this is a filter within it, like not the filters of Instagram, but this is the conduit in which you're sending this message out, it's already lost any realness to me.
I think this also this is my first holiday in an area
This is not a live.
in
Once
an
again,
area
she could have cut those first 3 videos and said, look, let me compose myself. I want to say this, but here we are.
with gosh dang.
Okay, she hasn't said anything. She's only just cried, which again, crying is fine. I have nothing wrong with crying, but it's like crying performatively or crying to, profit in some way or engage your audience of strangers. I don't know, just against it. I'm starting a petition. Stop. Ban crying from the internet, please. JB, thank you, JB. Welcome. JB says, awkward danger pay for Kia walking into the heart. Well, thank you, JB. And for that, I have to say,
we have a lot of really great friends from Canada.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. This one's for you, JB. True patriot love, with nothing's coming. I wasn't planning to sing "Oh Canada" for you guys. I wasn't planning this, but with glowing hearts we sing, and true and strong and free. I don't know what's come over me. Oh, far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on God for thee. Okay. And also,
one of the things that fascinates me about you is that you're from Canada.
get it? JB. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so just to add, she added some captions. It says, so much emotion around a beach town loaded with some of the greatest memories of my life. So much I can't quite string a few words together without emotion pouring out. Now in French. I used to know a little bit of it in French. I don't know anymore. We used to have to sing it in French when I lived in Canada for 2 years. And I learned it and then I forgot it immediately. Okay.
Oh, okay. Colts.
Welcome, Emily. Oh, wait. Emily says she has a breakdown on live because she has no friends. This is not even a live. That's the thing. This is a pre-recorded, edited video. That's even worse. If this was a live stream, that's one thing. It's like, well, I couldn't turn it off. I already started it. No. This is a thought-out, edited video in the sense of she could have stopped at any time, deleted it, and started over and chose not to. That, to me, shows intention. Okay? But I agree, Emily.
So many memories. Like really good ones. Gosh. I was actually just gonna come in here and introduce some of the really cute videos and photos that I took yesterday.
Don't.
That I didn't I couldn't get around to posting.
That's okay. We don't care.
It was actually a really great 4th with Cash and Ruby and my mom. And also, it was hard for all of us, you know. And I know this doesn't get talked about a lot.
Oh, it does too much. Okay, now this caption says, and while this doesn't get talked about a lot, it's there. I think it's taken me almost 5 months to figure out what up and down are again and realize emotions around losing my best friend and deepest relationship to date is okay. She has 2 baby daddies. Okay, so 2 ex-husbands, parents, well, her dad passed, but her mom, like, I'm assuming friends, and Dave Hollis, the man that was chaotically in rehab across the country, going through a divorce. I just find it sad that that's the best relationship. I think she's creating a fantasy that didn't necessarily exist when he was alive. Now that he's gone, it's like she's got to build it up of like, it was the best man I've ever known. It's like, you guys broke up a lot. It was not stable. You need to find something, my therapist says to me, you need to find something stable and safe because what you're doing is not helping your own life. Okay, it says, it's also okay to miss him, even with his struggles. He is definitely the most missable human I've ever met. I agree with that. Just because someone dies of an overdose doesn't mean you're not allowed to miss them or not allowed to think that they had good qualities, obviously.
It's there, you know, and I can't even talk normal right now. I think some days are harder than others and other days are easy, you know. And I don't know what it was about this 4th, but it was harder. And also, I'm super proud of myself for letting myself feel everything that is meant to be felt. And I'm really proud of myself for not using one single thing to numb. Not a workout, not work. I just sat with.
Well, I thought that was a weird statement to make. 'Cause it's like numb, like alcohol, drugs, like what are we talking about? Then she kind of clarifies like workout. But she also was incessantly on her phone because even though she didn't post on the 4th, she's going to share, and I think she did after this, like a bazillion videos of her and her kids and her mom. And like, so I think that's the addiction that she's still very much imbibing in. Is that what you call it? Imbibing in? The incessant social media posting.
The feelings and the emotions and my kids and my mom, and we talked and we remembered things. You'll see, oh boy.
True. Good point.
There were.
Get off the phone.
Some really
get into therapy.
Cute.
Come on.
Amazing memories from last 4th that were unintentionally almost recreated. Like we would land in a spot eating pizza and Ruby's like, oh my gosh, this is where we sat last 4th. And then Ruby was riding her bike, which Dave taught Ruby how to ride last year on that trip. I'm sorry for crying.
Why? Why are you sorry that
and
you're crying?
Also,
be sorry you posted it.
I think a lot of you knew and can feel it too, because in the last 24 hours, I think I've gotten more messages from you guys right in line with where my heart is and where yours is too.
What? Like 500,000 people did not know Dave. Like, oh, we're feeling the same thing you're feeling, Heidi. Like, what are you talking about? I don't get it. Is this just like to get her page up and running so she can sell more supplements? That must be it, right? Like, there's no reason why you would be pretending that these strangers watching on Instagram have any idea what it was like to date Dave Hollis and have an intimate relationship with him. So why are we equating like, you guys know just as much as I do? Like, no, this is your boyfriend. This is so bizarre.
I mean, it feels good to get it out. And all of the wonderful people I met on the boardwalk, there were so many of you guys that said hi. If I seemed a little quiet.
And she just says, what interesting is that I've gotten more heartfelt messages in the last 24 hours about this, about Dave. It's as if you knew. Maybe you felt it too. That a breakdown was coming, I guess. I know I'm being mean, but
this is why.
This is bizarre.
Man, I have never let myself.
And we're still going. We're still on this video of crying. She's like, I never thought I would do this. I didn't intend to do this. It's so crazy that I'm doing this right now. And we're still watching the crying. It says, first crying video ever. That's a lie. I didn't mean to. Yes, you did. And also, I'm not going to apologize. Instead, maybe we can normalize feeling whatever we're feeling as we move through missing those we lost and loved. Nothing is wrong with us for feeling and crying. I agree. The problem is sharing it and exploiting it for whatever gain you're trying to get is the problem I have. It's a sign of the depth of love that existed. And yes, I'm a feeler who loves my people deeply, even with their struggles. Okay, workout now. Then I'll post some cute stuff that will make us smile later. Okay. JB says, we need a train wreck emoji stat. Yeah. The toxic gossip train wreck. That's another song that's in my head, other than Oh Canada. The toxic gossip train. I've heard that so many times watching these videos. Okay. Thank you, JB. I agree. That's a good one. I'll write that down. Train wreck emoji. We're almost done, hopefully.
Do a video crying online like this. I mean, I think I've kind of cried a little bit, but man, this is a super vulnerable share.
So vulnerable of me.
And I share it because I know you guys are feeling it too. A lot of you, not all of you.
We're not. Why would we feel it on July 4th? Like, okay, I don't get it.
But
we miss Mother England or something.
Thanks for
miss Big
letting
Ben.
me share this.
I miss tea time.
Oh, here's the thing. The more we can let our emotions and our feelings out, the more we can feel them, let them move through us and not keep them hidden inside of us, the better we are. I really do know I'm going to have a great rest of the day. I'm probably going to cry a little bit more. I'm going to enjoy these kids. I'm going to work out. And I'm going to post some stuff for you.
No, thanks.
I love you.
I don't need to see posts of your kids. The internet does not need posts of your kids. We will survive without posts of your kids. Okay, so she posted that one. Then she posted this throwback, obviously, from July 5th last year.
Oh.
Okay. More pictures. Okay. And now she hasn't posted today, shockingly, on her stories. But you know who has posted? Her non-boyfriend named Drew Manning. Who is Drew Manning? This guy. So he is fit to fat to fit. He did the trifecta effect, I guess. He's also a guy that had a fitness show, I guess, in some capacity. I think he was like going on 1 or 2 episodes. I don't think it was his whole show, but he was on a show. And he's been friends with Chris Powell and Heidi for a while, since before they were divorced and before he was divorced. So they have a similar situation which is why I feel like they might be like getting together, because it makes sense. They both were married separately. He was married to a woman that looks to me similar to Heidi, and they're both Mormons, at least at some point in their lives. And then they got divorced, both of them, and now they're single, but it's complicated, I guess. But before we look through his Insta, let's go to the video of him explaining that they just friends. They just friends. It ain't nothing but a thing. Ain't nothing but a boo thing. Okay, here we go.
Okay, what's up, y'all? Just want to make a quick little story just because I feel the need to have to do this because I'm a single guy and I have a female friend that's in town with her kids, and I feel like I need to make a story or a post about this just because I know people are going to be asking and wondering and all the things. So I'm just going to set the record straight. Me and Heidi, we are just 100% really good, legit friends, and she's out here on vacation with her 4 kids. I allowed them to stay here when my girls weren't here, so we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff this week. So you're going to see, pictures and videos of some cool things. But yeah, I know people are going to be asking, so I felt I got her permission to make this story, just to let you guys know that we are 100% just legit good friends.
People say, "What are you doing?" You say things that please.
Okay, and he's live your life. Here's my advice: live your life. As I drown myself in my own pool. It's a weird thing to end on. He lives in Hawaii, I guess, full time. Yeah, let's take a look-see, shall we? Okay. Got some ads. Typical. Okay, let's see what he's up to. Hey, what's up?
Everyone, happy Thursday. Just a quick little check-in. Things been obviously busy this week, having friends in town and, being a tour guide. But one of the things I'm learning is learning to surrender. And what I mean by that is not give up, but learning to surrender sometimes to what is instead of trying to fight and control everything in my life. And that has brought me a lot of peace. It doesn't mean I don't fight for what I want. It doesn't mean I don't stay highly engaged to trying to make my life better, whether it's with my business or my finances or my relationship with my daughters or, my dating situation, whatever you want to call that. I'm just not attached to the outcome of it, meaning it doesn't have a hold on me and my emotions if things don't work out the way I want them to. And so learning to...
I feel like these fitness people who had former shows that are like, trying to make it as a career still, they just need a journal. Like, put this in a journal or keep this in the internal brain bin. Like, we don't need to hear this. This is not good content. Do a squat, do a burpee, show me how to do a handstand. I don't need to know about your dating life and what you think and that you're surrendering to anything. It's like, enough.
Surrender, letting go of control of everything for me has been a huge, huge blessing in finding peace.
What are you even talking about?
And so anyways, letting go of the hold that that has on me has been really profound in helping me. And so a lot of my clients that I try and help with weight loss, it's the same kind of thing where I teach them how to be highly engaged to the process of controlling their inputs, which is, the food that they eat and the movement that they choose to do, the
food,
the sleep and stress management, those important factors for physical transformation.
You want to go to a Chick-fil-A for some input?
But when it comes to weight loss, this is the part where people get tripped up, is they let it have so much hold on them and their emotions.
Word salad.
Show up to what they want it to be, and that's kind of where I think people struggle in the fitness industry with weight loss.
Love it. This is good content.
The hold that it has on them because they define themselves by that. They judge themselves, and their value is based.
Coughing and your other cell phone alarm going off the whole time. Good. That's good.
I do not give a fuck.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So this is I know it's hard. It's very frustrating for people to put in X amount of work and effort. So anyways, this is kind of how I show up in my coaching when I...
Okay, coaching. He's a coach. Okay, then, so he's with Heidi right now. The kids are staying at his house, apparently. Her and the kids. Then he's posting her ex-husband, tagging him, and old video footage from their show, from Heidi and Chris's show.
And your confidence. That's what the biggest surprise was how it affected me as a husband and how it affected me as a father.
Okay, so I don't want to get copyright strikes. Okay, here's another one. Hashtag just friends, y'all. Hashtag not a couple. So they're making it a point to constantly bring up that two people of differing genders are not dating, okay? Stop asking, even though we're going to bring it up every 5 seconds. And then he tagged her and said, forever on her phone. Yeah, we know. Oh, we know. And then it says, went on a fun adventure last night. Okay. Tag. This is from less than an hour ago. Here's a sneak peek before jumping in the water. This looks like very familiar to old Dave Hollis content. This is exactly what he did when they were just friends. About last night, ... tags Heidi Powell. Met these amazing creatures. That's pretty cool. Last night, tagged Heidi Powell. Ooh, manta rays. That's so cool. I want to be just friends and go to view this in Hawaii. Somebody just invite me. Someone that's just my friend invite me there. That's awesome. So he's tagging Heidi this whole time. I don't know how much we care about this. Why is he embarrassed? Embarrassed emoji.
Sorry.
Why is it embarrassing? I'm still not understanding. Do you fart or something? Did I miss a fart there? I don't really show my legs off a lot, but I do have some muscles down there. Okay, good job. Good job, Drew. In case y'all were wondering, hashtag wasn't me. He shapes his legs, so it seems. Okay, good for you. Cool. I call this my ruck shuffle. It's kind of like jogging with a 45-pound weight vest on, but it ends up being more of a shuffle. Cool. This is a lot harder than it looks. Cool. He's got another muscle man tattooed on his muscle man. That post-workout pump. Again, this looks very familiar to Dave Hollis and Heidi going to the gym together. Him training for his thing. Like, it's all good. Hashtag just friends, y'all. Okay, they'll be dating in 6 months. 6 weeks. Okay, I guess he's talking about his kids. Wonderful. More scrumptious video of us eating malasadas to come on Heidi Powell's story. Wow, they're really trying to push this friendship on us all. Huh? Okay, so I thought, again, who is this guy? What's going on? Is this the new boyfriend? Is this the new best friend? What is his story? I want to know the details. He also, like I said, got divorced, had some issues. So I think they're going to talk about it. And maybe, I have not watched this yet, so we'll see. Yeah, I think they're already dating, but they will come out with it officially in 6 weeks and be like, love. Oh, hold on. Actually, as more evidence as to that happening, Drew was married, like I said, to a blonde woman. Where is it? I had it on here. Stand by. Hold on. Wait, this is okay. So this is just to remind us that Heidi and Chris announced their divorce in May of 2020. Now we know that they actually were separating much before that, like a year before that, but May 2020. This video came out in June 2020. This is Heidi running. I know someone asked that. She's running down the factory line. June 2020. So they both were already divorced at this time. But here is his ex-girlfriend now. This is not his ex-wife. It's just ex-girlfriend from November. Okay. And he tagged her and everything. He's a tagger. This guy likes to tag. And then this is what it says. She came into my life very unexpectedly recently. Since my last relationship 2 years ago, I've been through a lot. Those who know me know this is true, and I've done a lot of work on myself since then. I felt like I was ready to give it another try, trying to find someone to date, but nothing seemed to work out. Then, right before connecting with her a few months ago, I honestly had given up on dating and wasn't looking for a relationship when we started talking. Sounds like hashtag just friends, y'all. I was open to a friendship though, and so was she. Hashtag just friends, y'all. Then in a very organic way, our friendship just grew and grew over time. And now I'm very proud and happy to be in a relationship with her. She has shown me what a secure, conscious relationship can be like/feel like. She's a breath of fresh air because she understands what a conscious relationship is. I don't know that. I don't know what to when you're not sleeping the whole time. I don't know what a conscious relationship means. Explain that, please. And what it requires. She understands her triggers and past traumas and how those can affect her at times. If someone wrote this about me, I would freak out. Please keep this to yourself. What the fuck are you doing? She understands her triggers and past traumas and how those can affect her at times. Like when she's a total bitch at the grocery store. It's like, okay. Whoa. Okay, sorry. Maybe I'm overreacting. She understands her triggers and past traumas and how those can affect her at times, and she does a great job at communicating those to me, which I appreciate so much. She also creates a safe space for me to do the same and just to be me, but from a place of curiosity instead of judgment, like my jerk wife, ex-wife. Sorry, he didn't say that. This is what a secure and conscious relationship is for me. Okay. Thank you for all the love and support, and I'm excited for this next chapter. Well, they got broken up pretty quickly, but they took 1,000 photos apparently before the breakup, and this is their announcement of we're together. Here's a picture of her alone. Here's a picture of us. Here's a picture of her probably trying to just be comfortable, but here's a picture. Oh, here's me in Mel Robbins glasses. I had the same pair. I'm not gonna lie. But still. And they broke up. So, he seems to like to overshare, number one, just like Heidi, and was looking for friends that develop into something much more. #y'all. So I thought that was interesting. Now let me look up his ex-wife just to show you that it's a Heidi lookalike. In my humble opinion. Wife. And it's not funny, but kind of funny that they're like the same at competing networks of weight loss shows. Like the blonde, which one are you watching tonight? Back in 2006. Which one are you watching tonight? The blonde with the guy with the dark hair, the blonde with the other blonde? That was like the options and weight loss shows back in that time period. Okay, so here's just a little, before we get to the video. It says, it was really hard on our marriage. And I guess it continued to be hard. Super fit trainer who gained and lost 72 pounds, that's Drew, in bid to empathize with clients, reveals emotional toll of radical experiment. Okay. So he was 30. Wow. God. Like I said, I'm 32. When I see someone who's 30 that looks like a grown-ass adult, I'm like, oh, I forgot how old I am. Drew Manning, 30, from Eagle Mountain, Utah, went from rippling muscles and a 34-inch waist to an obese 263 pounds 6 months ago. Okay, Daily Mail. To better understand how it would feel to lose it. In an interview with Good Morning America to show how quickly he had returned to his former glory, wife Lynn described how radically her husband's personality had changed with his body. Though the experiment was inspired by physical appearance, Mrs. Manning admitted that her husband, a usually hands-on father, became lazy. I was shocked because I really thought this was only going to be a physical transformation that Drew was going on to pack on the weight and lose it because it was on purpose, the mother of two said. The changes that happened in him and him becoming lazy, not helping around the house, being a great father like he used to be, it was hard. It was really hard in our marriage to see that happen. So this is the before and this is the after. This is when he was a good father and this is when he was a lazy POS, according to his ex-wife. Okay, so they did it in a year. So he went from fit to fat to fit in 1 year. He wrote a book about it, but of course, okay. It says, over the course of 6 months last year, the outdoor enthusiast survived on a diet of burgers, desserts, white bread, processed foods, and soda, and admitted he quickly became accustomed to his new diet and the epic portions on his plate. He was soon so unhealthy and hampered by his new hulking physique that chasing his 2-year-old daughter around the kitchen left him panting for breath and chafing. They're making this sound so dramatic. That's so funny. Mrs. Manning, also a fitness fan, found her husband hard to deal with throughout the process, complaining at the time. He's grumpy. He has no endorphins. He's constantly miserable. The hardest part for me is that he's so depressed. He's constantly complaining. He's jealous of me because I get to work out. This is a good relationship. I can tell. I hate my husband. I tell him I'm sick of him putting himself down the whole time. It's a state of mind. People who have confidence are more attractive, and his confidence levels have gone way down. Jeez, lady. God, get the guy a break. He was for a TV show. Acknowledging that Mr. Manning was not only the member of the household... Acknowledging that Mr. Manning was not the only member of the household to suffer from the momentous weight gain and subsequent implications, Lynn also has a chapter in her husband's book. This is so mean. It's called the ick factor. Can you imagine if you did this for a show and the whole time your partner in life is like, you're so annoying now. Give me I want to write in your book a chapter called I Hate You. Like, okay, sure. Okay, it's called the ick factor. People joke around, but it wasn't about his man boobs or that he stopped manscaping. That really wasn't what it was about. It was about the emotional changes, him becoming a different person. And it wasn't until she pointed out how useless around the house he had become with the children and domestic chores that the former muscle man realized just how acutely he had been affected. He recalled, I started snoring, I was chafing, I had less energy, so it did become exhausting, and I could see how it affected our relationship because of that. That's where the biggest surprise was. But the sacrifices made by the pair paid off in spades for the personal trainer, who understood for the first time how difficult it could be for an overweight person to face the challenge of working out and eating healthy. With this new rotund body and added weight, the one-time workout expert was forced to do push-ups on his knees. And assisted pull-ups, a degrading situation for the fitness pros. Yeah, so degrading to do a pull-up with assistance. With an unfamiliar nervousness to return to the gym, he confessed, for the first time in my life, I was humbled. Okay, hold on. We need this. I've never faced a challenge before until I, on purpose, gained weight for a TV show and a book deal. I was humbled and afraid. And I had to do the push-ups with my knees. Hold on, let me capture this on camera. Hey, you guys, vulnerable post here. I've been humbled. I only pushed up on my knees one time. Anyways, okay. Using this invaluable insight into weight loss, Fit to Fat to Fit includes not only details of his story, but exercises, meal plans, and tips to inspire those who believe that healthy living is an unachievable goal. Okay, and then it ends. And then, shockingly, I cannot tell. I have no key indicators from this article that they were about to divorce very soon after this. Who would have thunk? Okay, so actually, I feel a little bad for Drew Manning at this moment. So there's a little preview. Okay, and we saw his wife, the Heidi Powell lookalike. And let's hear from the two of them. They're going to interview each other. Okay, Heidi and Drew. This is after the divorce, both of their divorces, but before Dave Hollis was in the picture, potentially. He might have already been in the picture. There's some discrepancy of the timeline, but we're going to imagine that he's not in the picture yet. So here we go. Let's watch.
Today's guest, this is someone I am super, super excited about. I see a lot of people piling on here, and I have a feeling we're going to have more piling on too, but I'm super excited about this. Drew Manning.
This is when she had a podcast. She acts like she's never had a podcast before, and she literally already had a podcast, and she was doing it fine. She acts like now she's like has this team of people who are inspiring her and teaching her how to have a podcast. It's like, girl, you had a podcast 3 years ago. Just get that microphone out from your bedroom floor. It's right there.
Not only is Drew Manning one of my best friends in the whole world, I mean that. You really are one of the best. I know you're watching this. I'm about to bring him on, and he's truly one of my favorite life mentors. He's one of my greatest confidants.
Until Dave
and he's also an incredible entrepreneur and a household name. He's best known for his Fit to Fat to Fit
God, cut this music.
experiment where he purposely gained 75 pounds over the course of 6 months and then took, I'm going to let him talk more about it, 6 months to lose the weight. And this experiment turned into a New York Times bestselling book. It turned into, the book is called Fit to Fat to Fit, turned into a TV show on Annie, where he took trainers through the same journey so that they would have empathy, compassion, understand the journey.
Finally.
And he's really, I think he's appeared on every news publication and show under the sun, sharing his journey. And I'm so excited to have him on. He's a devoted and amazing father of 2 beautiful girls. He's been through a lot, been through divorce. I mean, he's just someone, there's so much info to glean from this guy right here. Drew.
Doesn't she sound different? She sounds much more capable, much more entrepreneurial, much more confident pre Dave Hollis time. I'm not saying he caused her to be, less than that, but it like hearing her now talk and the way she acts, it's like night and day.
Manning, let me figure out. This is the first time I'm bringing somebody on. Usually it's someone. It's because there's pages. Sorry, guys, bear with.
Okay, wait. This is the same. She does not understand how to conduct technology yet, or over the course of years.
Me for a second, Derek. Can you? Oh wait, Derek, I can search by name.
This is okay. So people who are really familiar with the timeline, Derek is Heidi's first husband. Now they got divorced, obviously, and then she has 2 kids with Derek. Then Chris came around, they had 2 more kids. But then after Chris and Heidi divorced, Derek was like back in the picture as best friends also. So this is when Derek was still cool with Heidi. Now they seem to be, they hate each other, allegedly, or don't like each other, or don't have a good relationship, allegedly. I don't know if that's true, but that's what it seems like. They don't really tag each other or do anything. But there was a period of time when like people were speculating that she was going to get back with her first husband, Derek. So it sounds like he's there helping her.
Sorry. Sorry, guys. Oh, my keyboard's dead. Remember that? Technical difficulties. Oh, there he is. Last screen, because you must have been the first person on. All right, guys.
She's wearing like a wedding ring or an engagement ring on top of her tattoo finger. And the divorce is already announced by this point.
Drum roll. Where's he at? Where are you at, Drew?
Nothing changed.
Where are you at?
Actually.
You got to accept, Drew. If you don't leave me high and dry now. Don't you dare leave me.
For someone who believes in the power of courses and education, get yourself a Facebook Live course, girl, please. We can't keep doing this. We cannot keep doing this. This is the millionth time that she's had tech issues for a simple interview.
Hanging. Drew Manning. It shows.
There we go.
Finally.
I'm here.
My Lord.
Okay.
There you are, Drew.
I was not leaving you hanging, I promise. I was trying to join as fast as I could. I'm going as fast as I can.
Oh my gosh. Was I making you nervous? Was all that pressure? Were you about to buckle under that pressure right there?
No, because I know how you are, but I was like, I'm coming. I deliver. Promise.
But if you didn't know me, would that have been a little intimidating to you?
No, not at all. You say it with a nice voice, but I know what you're doing underneath. You're like, this better work or else someone's gonna die.
You know me all too well. Now, a lot of people on here don't realize, Drew, that you and I have known each other now for how many years has it been?
Shoot, was that 2013 that I came on the show?
Yeah. So Drew was one of our first bigger guests on the show, Extreme Weight Loss. Let's tell them about that. I'll let you go ahead and dive into that a little bit.
Okay, so I did Fit to Fat to Fit in 2011 to 2012, and you kind of described what that is, right? I got fat, I got fit, and that's it in a nutshell. There's a lot more to it than that, but we'll summarize it. Yeah. So anyways, fast forward a couple years. I already knew who you guys were because you had your TV show on ABC, and I'm in the fitness industry, so I was watching it, and they invited me on as a guest to season 3 episode. I don't know what episode it was, but it was with
Alyssa.
So anyways, the premise behind it, or what was going on in the background, was this was so funny. Poor Chris, I don't know if it was his idea or the producer's idea to challenge him to eat Alyssa's food for 24 hours to kind of show her what it does.
I think deep down he wanted to eat Alyssa's food. He's going to say it with the producers, but he'd been eating like chicken and rice for years. He was just looking for a donut.
Exactly. Well,
God. The good old days of The Biggest Loser, where they just would, ridicule people for eating non-chicken and broccoli every night. Like, these fat buffoons are disgusting. Take a look at their meals. We're going to force feed a hot guy this lady's diet. How weird is that? Join us tonight at 7 p.m. on ABC Family, a place where families can watch. Like, oh my God. We've come a long way, though. We have come a long way, I will say.
He kind of bit off more than he could chew. Is that how you say it?
Literally.
So anyways, so he had to eat Alyssa's food schedule for 24 hours. And so they go to breakfast to McDonald's, have a big meal. Then a couple hours later, they go get donuts. Then a couple hours later, another fast food place. And then a couple bites in, he pukes and throws up in the bag. I don't know why he threw up in the bag. That was so gross.
Because it was for dramatic effect, because the bottom of the bag would get soggy.
Oh, so gross. He didn't even make it the full 24 hours, poor guy. So anyways, the next day they bring me on, and Chris introduces me to Alyssa, like, hey, there's this guy that did this for 6 months. He gained this weight and he lost it, and he has some valuable insight. So anyways, that's where they brought me on the show and met you and Chris, and super grateful for that, because that was the beginning of our friendship and our journey. And we've evolved so much since then.
Our journey.
I was going to say, I think one of the most amazing things, and I've talked to you about this, but it's incredible for me to see the difference between who you were when I met you and who you are now. And granted, I loved who you were 7 years ago. Like, you were such a good person. You were such a joy to have on the show, our show. But you were very different. You were in a different spot. You were married at the time. You were very religious.
Yes.
And I will say you have since become much more open-minded. So I don't want to say you were closed-minded back then, but why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey from that point on?
Yeah. So I grew up in the Mormon religion, and my perception of the culture that I was raised in was either you're perfect or you're a failure, right? You either go to heaven or you go to hell. So I at a young age, I put a lot of pressure on myself to be perfect. And I didn't know how to talk about my weaknesses, because our society teaches men to suppress our feelings and our emotions. And so if we have feelings or emotions, we are just supposed to push them down further and further. And my self-defense mechanism that I developed at that age was to just hide my weaknesses. And so from a very young age, I developed this technique to just pretend that it didn't exist. And so that is what eventually broke me as a man. It's what broke my marriage. And I'm sure we'll dive into all of that, of what I learned and what I went through. But for me, my rock bottom was post-divorce and post-religion. And those are two huge things that we base our identity around. Marriage, right? Being married to someone and being a father. And
especially when you are religious too, the marriage is like tied into that. Just so we have the update, this is the ex-wife, again, her Instagram, I just saw it. She is remarried to a different person from 2021. So maybe there's some pressure on his side. Oh, she's an untamed girly. She's an untamed girly. She's like a lion at the zoo. She just wants to run. Interesting. So this is the ex-wife. Says, I said yes to getting married again. So she shares a lot on Instagram as well, of her kids and stuff. So she's like an influencer of her own. 26,000 followers. So in case we were wondering, there you go. And thank you to Albanese. Albanese, thank you so much. Albanese says, I was just explaining to my husband that you should never underestimate blondes. Every blonde person, hold on, I'll bring it up. Every blonde person I know plays 10 steps ahead. Heidi's chaotic blonde persona is an act. Rachel is smarter though. What if Heidi's the smartest because she's playing it down so much and she's actually playing the 4D chess, and Rachel is just playing 3D checkers with Boothang. Boothang. You never know. I feel like I need to back off of Rachel. As much as I don't like her, I feel like having a newfound feeling of like I'm too critical of people, or other people are also critical and maybe we should not be as critical. I'm like, should I back off of Rachel? Like maybe, but also
Boofing.
But also not yet. I can't give it up yet.
Get your hearts ready.
I want to stop, but will I? No.
This situation is a red flag.
What else?
It's not my ankle that hurts. It's my Achilles heel.
Yes. I don't know. There should be a IQ off. See who wins. I guess we got to play the long game. In 5 years from now, we'll see who's on top. Rachel seems to be making a comeback. Good luck, girlfriend. I don't care. Heidi seems to be doing something. She'll probably get married again, and then she'll be fine. So, it's a toss-up. I don't know. Thank you, Albanese. Okay, back to it.
And having kids with someone, and then your religion that you grew up in, those two things define your identity so much, and to lose those, it kind of throws you off a little bit. And I just had to rediscover.
Am I blonde?
Not rediscover.
Am I blonde?
Really discover who I was without those things. And so that was a really big part of my journey.
Because they both happened at the same time, right? Like both of those things were simultaneous.
Oh yeah, around the same time, and they both had nothing to do with each other. Like I didn't get divorced because of religion, and I didn't leave religion because of divorce. But it was around the same time that we had these awakenings, both Lynn and I, about our religion, and we realized it wasn't healthy for her nor I to be in that environment anymore. And this time our marriage was unraveling. We had been trying to hold on to it for about, I think, 5 years of therapy, and this is on the down low. Like this is the hard part about being in the public eye we had to pretend that we were this happy couple. We had to pretend like, oh, we're on Dr. Oz show, like, oh, we're so happy and in love. And we would go home and she would cry herself to sleep. And it was that.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I'm assuming you don't. Totally joking. But because I know how hard it can be.
Well, she's still, like I said, she's wearing her ring right now, but they've been separated for like a year when this video was posted. So I guess that is a little foreshadowing. Maybe she didn't announce officially when they recorded this, but they posted it after they announced. Maybe she had a backlog of episodes. So that's sort of like wink, wink. That's what I'm doing right now.
To be in the public eye. And
it's also like, I don't know. I guess that makes sense if you're not ready to call it quits and you're going on a show and the purpose is that, oh, we're married and this is our shtick. I get it. But also, like, you don't have to lie. You don't have to play it up and pretend necessarily. You're choosing to do that. But I get it because it's for an opportunity,
have this kind of quote unquote perfect marriage. It was really, really hard because it pulls away at your soul. Like it just slowly just pulls away at your soul. And you you're living this inauthentic life. You're wearing this mask all the time and you get used to it, but it's not fulfilling. You realize there's something missing in your life. And for us, man, hitting rock bottom was the hardest thing, but it's the thing I'm most grateful for. I would not change it for anything to this day, even though it didn't end up the way I wanted to with going through a divorce. But I'm so grateful for it because it's made me who I am today. And I think everyone.
It's interesting too, because like Heidi's younger kids apparently just got baptized, I'm assuming, in the Mormon religion. So the fact that she's now going to see Drew, who is a ex-Mormon, so it seems, and now she's sort of getting back into the religion. It's interesting that she would now go and hang out with him, even though she's kind of saying this religion's great. I suppose she seems to be wanting, and I get it, like relying on religion now more. But yeah, it's usually you then surround yourself with people in the religion, not people who have left.
It has to have a rock bottom moment or multiple. We can have multiple rock bottom moments. Hopefully it doesn't happen again here soon. But I think that's what changes us for the better. Everything happens for a greater good. And that changed me. It made me a better human, made me a better person, made me a better father. And so that's why I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, and that one of the things that I love about you the most is just how vulnerable and open and authentic you are about what you've been through and what your struggles are. I think knowing you on this side of it now, like I can only imagine, because you are very open. Like you've been talking, you have a whole couple podcasts. You talk about in a lot of things, the reasons why you felt like your marriage fell apart and what your part of it was. And, you know, Lynn talks very openly about what she felt like hers was. I just love that about you guys. And knowing this side of you now that I believe has really changed a lot of lives. I truly believe it, because people they can't relate to perfect. They can relate to imperfection, because that's where we all sit, you know? So when you started opening up and becoming more transparent about your struggles, I think that's when people really started clinging to you. And would you say that helped you blossom even more and heal and recover, just being able to open up? Because I can't imagine what it was like for you holding all of that in.
Oh man, that's the hard part. I think, as you know, women do this too, but men especially hold a lot of things in, especially emotions like this, because we're taught it's not safe, it's not okay, it's a weakness to show that side of us. And it's really scary. But until you do, you are not living a fulfilled life. I don't care who you are. When you're pretending, when you're wearing a mask, when you don't own your story, when you have shame, things that bring you shame that you don't talk about, that shameful thing, whatever it is, owns you. It controls you. It, you know, no one knows what's going on the outside, but on the inside, there's the storm. There's this heaviness about you that you can't get rid of until you talk about those things that bring you shame. And once you
so what's the thing? Tell me the thing. What's the things?
Once you talk about those things that bring you shame starts to have less and less power over you. Yeah. Because it's scary to open up and talk about it. But once you do, then you realize, okay, it's not so scary. It's not that bad, because once you open up and talk about it, it's not that big of a deal. But in our minds, it's such a huge deal.
What is it? What is it?
My life will be over. No one's going to like me. We make up these stories, and those stories become a reality, and they shape our way of thinking and our way of being, and those fears control us. God. And so for me,
okay, again, I really do think he reminds me a lot of Dave Hollis, like so far, and their dynamic reminds me of her and Dave Hollis, like not getting to the meat of it, just talking around it in circles, and like being very, you know, name drop Brene Brown, vulnerability, shame, you know, we never like, what is the thing that you're dealing with? Like, let's get to it. It's always this like word salad concoction that is meaningless when it's actually like laid out together. It's like, so what was your thing? Just get to that.
Like Brene Brown talks about stepping into the arena. That's what's so scary, because you step into the arena for the whole world to see. The whole world gets to see you and your imperfections and your weaknesses. You're like standing there naked in front of everyone, and everyone's can laugh or do whatever they want. And once you step into the arena, that's where your power is. That's where you really discover who you truly are. But it's scary as hell. It's so hard to make that first step. But once you do, your life starts to become better in the end.
Yeah. And it's such a hard thing.
Let's cut it. If you are a content creator, this message is for you. Get to the effing point. I don't need any more hypothetical situations. I don't need any more prose. I don't need any more, you know, quotes from Roosevelt. No more. Just if you have something to say about your life, say it, and let's move on with our lives. We got a lot of content to watch in our lives.
In so many ways. I mean, you obviously have known me and Chris for 7 years. And it's like, I can post as much as I want, something to the tune of, yeah, marriage isn't perfect. Marriage is hard. But people still, there's something about seeing a couple online or a couple that they perceive as, you know, having notoriety, and you automatically think they have it all together. People tend to look inside themselves and think, oh my gosh, my life's a train wreck. If only I had what Chris and Heidi have. And Chris and I would read and be like, you don't freaking know what we have. Like, I promise you, if you actually saw what was going on behind these doors. But then at the same time, it's like, there's only so much real you can post without turning people off and pushing to the side what we're there to deliver anyway. You know, it's a fine line, sharing personal life and delivering the information. I mean, is that something that's been hard for you?
Rewatch this, Heidi. You need to rewatch this, because you were on track with that analysis, and now what you've become has become overshare my children's every move and your every thought and emotion. It's like, what is your message to share? We don't know.
Because you're known as the keto king and this fit to fat to fit guy. Have you felt like that personal life component there's been like a gray line or like too much being shared?
Yeah, there is. And Brene Brown talks about this, oversharing versus being vulnerable. And when are you oversharing and when are you actually being vulnerable? And what I've learned for myself, because it's different for each person. It's different. Not everyone has a social media platform and not everyone's in the public eye. Like you and I might have. And so there's a difference in being vulnerable and oversharing. And what I've learned for myself is if I am coming from a place of healing where I've healed and I have tangible steps to offer people of this is where I was, this is what I did, this is what I went through.
This is the platform to do it.
Here's what I learned. Here are the takeaways that can help you, the same person going through a similar situation. Then I feel like that is coming from a place of true vulnerability versus oversharing versus like, for example, if it just had happened and I was like, you guys, this is what happened. I just went through the divorce and my emotions are a wreck and I have nothing to share as far as what I've learned. I feel like that's oversharing because you haven't really done the healing yet. And so for me, I'm making this sound like it was so easy. This was years and years of work and beating myself up and learning from mistakes. And once I did the work after those years, I was like, all right, now I'm feeling called to share this. And I feel like I have some steps to help people. Like I would want to speak to my old self. What would my old self want to hear that would help them through this situation? And that's kind of who I was speaking to. And once I put it out there, so the episode you're referring to is episode 100 of my podcast and episode 101 where Lynn came on. Once I shared that, 99% of the reaction was positive. There was maybe one crazy person that says something mean or negative, but almost all of it was positive.
And when in my mind, you were essentially sharing your dirt, like your mistakes.
What's the dirt? What's the mistakes?
Yeah.
Literally everything.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
What is everything?
Because I felt like I had to own my story. And that's why I got this tattoo. Vulnerability is strength. It's backwards on the camera.
Yeah.
But
oh God. Not the forearm tattoos of quotes. That's a red flag. Heidi, that's her siren call. It's like, do you have a giant quote on your arm of some vague thing that doesn't really apply to your life?
This situation is a red flag.
Don't follow the light. You will get zapped.
Because that was my new mantra. That was my new motto in life was I was taught vulnerability is weakness.
Here's my tip. Here's a Kia's World tip. Similar to Brene Brown's, studies. If you are newly divorced, wanting to date, and you see a man with a large quote tattoo, run as far away as possible. Just from experience of watching it fail, train wrecked style. I need that emote right now. The train emote. Hold on. It is not gold straight up, okay?
This is so good.
It is not so good.
Yes, this is where that got me. Rock bottom.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is strength. Now that I learned that and owned my story and was coming from a place of healing, I had so much more to offer people. And like you said, I could better relate to them. They could better relate to me.
Getting a tattoo that says vulnerability is strength is an overshare.
They trusted me more. And it's not such a embarrassing, shameful thing anymore. Like it was in my mind of like, oh, if I tell people that I got divorced, how much can I share on this episode, Heidi?
You can share as much as you want. Yep.
If I talk about porn addiction, if I talk about having an affair, what will happen? Will the world disown me? Will my family disown me? Will my friends disown me? All these stories that I made up in my head.
That's what I want to know.
Versus if I come from a place of healing and here's what I learned and here's how I can help other people who have been through this situation.
Tell us. We all got porn addictions. Come on. We need the help. We need the tips. Don't say, hypothetically, I could give these tips. Like, give the tips.
Then I feel like I have purpose again.
Yeah.
I have purpose in sharing my story versus just sharing it just to gossip or say, hey, here's what I did. But once that happened, everything shifted. Now I had the power over myself and, what's someone going to do? Come at me for telling the truth?
Mm-hmm.
For owning my story? You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
There's power in that. And now I get to live in a place where I'm authentic. And now I'm coming from a place of true authenticity and owning my story. And then I get to write my ending versus the world writing my ending.
And I love that. And there is so much fear in letting the world see those skeletons, right? Like so much. And I'm sure everybody on here, everybody listening right now, we can all think of a handful of things, at least one thing that we're hiding from. And most likely we have a lot of things that we're hiding, not only from the world, but from even the people that are close to us. And why are we hiding it? We're hiding it because we're afraid, like you said, Drew, of what people are going to think about us if we tell them. But once you truly.
Tell me one of those things, Heidi. Tell me one and I'll be satisfied. Rebecca Romana. I apologize in advance. Okay. I have a forearm tattoo of a rise against lyric. What's the lyric? Oh, wait, here it goes. Don't cancel me. How we survive is what makes us who we are. Oh, no, it sounds like self-help. How we survive is what makes us who we are. On the harbors and the ships of life, as in when vulnerability is a blessing and a disguise, and the only truth, John 3:17. If you have all of that, then you're canceled. Okay. We'll let it slide this one time because
her charisma is straight up off the charts.
Your charisma is straight up off the charts. Okay. And that's why we allow it. And also, I just wanted to say that rise against lyric makes me think of this.
Why does this sound cold every second?
Consider this.
Oh, okay. Colt.
And also consider this.
This spells cult. C-U-L-T.
Just saying. Thanks, Rebecca. Okay, here we go.
You said it perfectly. You cannot heal until you do that. You can't, like the healing process can't begin until, and I feel like for me I'm like the perpetual mistake maker. I feel like I've told you that a lot. Like I am. I feel like between me and Chris, I'm like, why does Chris make no mistakes? But maybe it's my perspective. I'm constantly making mistakes.
What kind of mistakes? Give me one example of a mistake. I hate this, again, vagueness. This makes bad content.
Learning, but I will say it's not until I can let it go, let it out of my stomach, out of my throat. Like I have to speak it to people. That it's not until I do that I can actually begin truly healing and moving past it. And it is the scariest, hardest step. But you need to know, you've been one of mine and Chris's biggest inspirations, through what you've been able to do. And I know, Drew, you guys were divorced for a period of time before you even announced it to the world, right?
Yeah. Well, it was a few years after we were officially divorced. We didn't even tell people we were divorced until after we were divorced, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We had made that decision to do it privately. We moved to Hawaii for a little.
Well, she's not being authentic and saying, me too. That's what I'm currently doing at this moment, even though I'm wearing this ring.
A bit. And then from there, it was a good, I would say 2 or 3 years, or 2 years after that I came out public with my story in episode 100 of my podcast. And so it takes time, and everyone has their own time frame. And that's the thing, is it's not something you can just wake up the next day and be like, all right, I'm healed. Man, I wish that were the case. I wish that was the case for so many things. But.
I know.
And in case you didn't hear me, I said episode 100 is where I spill the tea on my divorce.
No.
Good to
well,
know.
I feel like I have really seen you blossom as a person. And even it's funny because I feel like even as you've opened up about your personal struggles and who you are, not only have you healed and become a brighter light in that way, but also the way that you do business and the way that you show up for your people and your clients is drastically different, I think. And the work that I see you do and how I see you approaching business, you have a different head, a different mind space, I feel like, and a different energy about you. I have Derek behind the camera who's nodding and saying, yeah, and it's true. And I think for those people, I would love, you had mentioned a few times, you referred to my old self.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, can you tell us who was that old self?
Yeah.
This sucks. It's so boring.
Basically, I'm a believer that we all grew up in these environments, and these environments shape us and shape our beliefs because these environments create experiences for us. So
here's a tip. Storytelling tip. Again, this is the same thing I've been saying for the last 5 minutes. Instead of saying we all grow up with these stories, we all grow up with this idea of who we're supposed to be, cut that shit and say, I grew up thinking that men need to be doctors because my dad was a doctor and we lived in California on this street. Like, add some color, baby. I need something. I'm like, just what's the word? I am not satiated. I'm not satiated. I'm hungry for some details, some relatable quips about your life. I don't like this. This is all what self-help is. Like, if you have a problem, go and solve it. It's like, well, what's your problem? Maybe I can learn something from that example.
So my environment was one of, sports culture, religious culture, and a very black and white culture in my family of you are either an A+ student or you're an F. And so for me, that was kind of what kind of shaped me growing up. I wanted to please people. I wanted to please my parents, please my church leaders, please my coaches. And I was so afraid of making mistakes because if I made a mistake, there was a punishment.
Yeah.
And it sucks being punished, especially as a kid with no outlet. I couldn't go talk to my parents or my leaders or my friends about my mistakes because I felt so ashamed. And like I said, that shame owned me. And so I went through life kind of walking on eggshells, like trying to please people, never really addressing the core issues of inauthenticity and my weaknesses, because I feel like if I just had an outlet, someone to talk to, I would have probably been able to get through these things and manage them versus hiding them from the world. And so for me, that was the old me. I've always come from, I've always felt like I've been pretty empathetic. I've always cared about other people and wanting to, make people happy and never hurt them.
I happen to be an empath myself.
So my intention was never.
Leave me alone. I am reading has another quote on their forum. It says, I loved you at your darkest. A paraphrase of Romans 5:8. I'm a walking red flag. Well, at least you know.
This situation is a red flag.
Everyone stay away. Stay 6 feet away. We're going back to COVID rules if you have a forearm tattoo with a quote on it. I'm sorry. Those are the rules. I didn't make it up. The CDC said so. Okay. Just say that when you see said tattoo. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I love it. JLB Nerdy, thank you so much. JLB Nerdy says, just arrived and confused, but liking the tan, Kia. Thank you. Someone said, what's your secret? What's the code for self-tanner? I'm like, the sun. It's called SUN. Type in sun when you walk outside on your smartphone and then shove it up to the sky, and then you will receive 50% off of ultraviolet rays. Yes, I have been tanning. We got a little pool on the outside of the house, a little small pool, just so I could cool off and I could read some books and relax and not have to drive to the beach. It's like, hold on. Driving to the beach every weekend, the 45-minute beautiful drive it's hard. It's a hard thing to sacrifice. So buying the little pool in the backyard has helped me cope. It's made me authentic and vulnerable. Yeah, so JLB. So this is from 2020. Heidi hasn't even come out with a divorce yet. That she's wearing a wedding ring on top of her engagement ring on top of her tattoo. Still, even though she's been divorced from Chris for like a year now, he's talking about his life. He's already divorced for a while now at this point too, and we're just getting to know these two as potential love interests because it seems like they are going to be best friends, aka married, probably to each other soon. So we're just trying to catch up on who these lovebirds are these days. That's it.
To hurt people or to do anything bad to people. But because of these issues of wanting to be perfect all the time, it caused me to hide my weaknesses.
I'm a beach driving warrior, beach road warrior.
How I, survived. It was a survival mechanism. I just would hide the weaknesses and pretend they didn't exist. And I bet you there's a lot of men out there that can relate to that. Women too. Because that's kind of what we do to survive in this world. We don't want to be found out. We don't want to be punished and admit that we have these weaknesses. So we just go about pretending like they don't exist. And that's where those things eventually own us and break us down.
Yeah. And I noticed with a lot of the people that a lot of people that have kind of talked to me The ones that seem to be hiding the most are also sometimes the most judgmental.
Yeah.
And a lot of the reason, like when they would explain it, and I don't know if this pertained to you, but a lot of the reason when I would, chat with them, they would say, well, I felt like if I didn't quickly judge somebody that was making a mistake, they would assume or know that I was making the mistake too. So it was constantly like, oh, look what that person's doing. Look what they're, and really they're hiding the same, if not more.
Yeah. So what I've learned
hiding what?
is that
Hiding
everything
what?
is a mirror of how we see ourselves.
Hiding what?
So if we judge ourselves harshly like that, which I did, and that's the way I was taught was from my religion was, hey, these are sins. They are bad. Therefore, you are bad. I didn't know how to separate that. And so I looked at everything as a mirror. So I would judge other people, look at down on their weaknesses because that's the way I looked at myself. And so once I realized that, once I healed my relationship with myself and came from a place of self-love versus self-hate, that's where things start to change for the better for you and for your relationships, because you're not operating as self-hate anymore. Okay. Therefore, your relationships with other people, you can see them as just a hurt.
Self-love or self-hate. Guess which one is better for you? This is my $7 book. It's called Which One Do You Think Is Better for You? Guess, and you'll be healed. Angela Arnold, thank you so much. Angela Arnold says, resting beach face. That's me. So, okay, here's a personal story. Here's a real personal story. Sometimes I am scared of things that are happening. And here's my tips. Don't. Just face it. Okay, sorry, I'm just kidding. Real story. So recently, and this has been a trigger for me, if you will. My mom would always point out, she's like, you look like you have a mustache. You look like you have a mustache. You look like you have a mustache. Okay, all the time. Not my whole life, but when I got to be like in my 20s. And I don't ever wax my lips. I used to wax my eyebrows. I don't anymore because they sort of stopped growing in. But my lip, I never did it because I was like, I'll just like shave it a little bit. And then it's still, sometimes I don't see any sort of like, I don't really think about it. But then someone watched a video of mine and did not like it. And they said, you need to wax your lip. Oh, it was the video about Bethany Frankel. Like, oh my God, roll my eyes. And she says, you need to wax your lip. And I was like, I don't think I can. I don't think anything will happen. But because I had said that out loud, I guess, and someone had sent me that comment, I'm assuming TikTok, somehow the Chinese government figured out that I have this insecurity about my lip color above my lip. And now there's this cream, apparently, that is helpful to get rid of like this. It's called the sun stash condition I had never heard about that apparently I have. So I'm going to investigate and maybe get this cream. But I don't want to get the cream before I go on vacation because I will be in the sun a lot on vacation. So I don't want to like burn or damage myself just in case it's like a sensitive cream. So I want all the internet comments to think I'm beautiful at all times. So that's my resting beach face, is this with my sun stash. So thank you, Angela Arnold, for bringing that up for me. No, you didn't. I'm just kidding. I appreciate it. And for that I say,
I don't find anything funny.
I'm just kidding. Thanks, Angela. Okay. Yes, that's what it's called. Melasma. Not to be confused with asthma. Also known as sun stash, according to the internet. Okay, here we go. Back to it. Sidebar.
Kids sometimes. They're not this bad person that you think they are. They're just like a hurt kid, like you are sometimes. And so when you see that as a reflection of yourself, it's easier to navigate relationships in your life because you don't take things as personal when someone is mean towards you or does something hurtful. It's not about you. It's about them.
I mean, sometimes it's about you.
If you come from a place of self-hate, that just perpetuates itself. And unless you learn how to break that cycle, it gets passed on to the people in your inner circle, your family, your kids. Do you want your kids to go through those same patterns that you've been programmed to think? Or do you want to break that cycle for them so that they don't have to suffer like you've suffered?
Yeah. So, okay, you take that person, that before person, he finds himself at his rock bottom. What was it like there? What did you feel? Like, where were you at emotionally?
I felt
mentally?
Great, amazing.
And what was your business like? Like, I mean, what were your biggest struggles?
Thousands of dollars.
Inside, it was a lot of despair. But what I learned how to do, what I became really good at, was pretend like on the outside things were good. So I could put on a smile. I could go on these TV shows and act like everything was good. I was the fit guy. So from a business perspective, I could play that role. I could put on that hat. Yeah. But when I went home and I was alone, or I saw Lynn crying, it was just this deep, dark hole that I felt like I was stuck in. I'm like, my life is over. I'm always going to be labeled as this. I'm always going to be labeled as this person who failed, who messed up.
I have to go do a potty.
You know, all these labels that you put on yourself.
So boring.
You go through that.
Could add some
and that's all I could
it.
see. I couldn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. I really didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel, because I'm like, this is my story, and I believe those stories, and I created that reality in my head, even though it wasn't reality. It became my reality so much that you just live in this place of hopelessness. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's what I would describe it as. And I truly was there, even though on the outside you don't see that. Not everyone got to see that hopelessness that I experienced, and this is the problem with.
I've heard enough from you.
Yeah.
No one gets to see that struggle. No one gets to see you suffer, because you have to show up and put on a happy face for other people.
She's like, show up. That's the name of my company.
Said,
Forthcoming.
Slowly pulls away at your soul. It's soul sucking to the core. It sucks away.
It sucks you to the core.
Your soul and takes away.
Thank you, Rainy Cannon. Thank you so much. Rainy Cannon farted. Okay. No, Rainy Cannon said, I just realized I've never sent a super chat. You are my favorite channel, Kia. Love your work. You are so brave and vulnerable, and I'm rooting for you. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been trying times. It's been hard times. It's been the best of times, the worst of times.
Unfollow me.
It's been an unfollowing time. And, you know, I'm trying. I'm trying to make it work. And we are. And, you know, this is what I do every night to take care of my self-care.
I'm outside the Cheesecake Factory waiting for it to open.
This is what the comments say about me every day.
You look like a Lord of the Rings elf.
But somehow I'm making it through. So I appreciate that, Rainy Cannon. All I have to say is I love you twice as much as both Heidi and Rachel Hollis, and I'm rooting for you ×4 to infinity, so I win. Okay? Okay?
When it comes to our genitals,
I will never talk about my genitals to you guys. So I do have 1 point in that category. Thank you, Rainy Cannon. I appreciate that. Okay, we got 20 seconds left.
True happiness from this life.
Maybe something will be hot.
So what was the moment?
Tea dropping.
You are in a marriage where...
Wait, how can it end so fast?
It was easy, because that's what the salted foam is. That's what the salted foam is. It's salted foam. They take cream. They put that reality in my head.
Okay, so she edited this messed up.
Even though it wasn't reality, it became my reality so much.
I went back.
You just live in this place of
to make sure I didn't mess it up.
Does that make sense? Yeah. That's what I would describe it as. And I truly was there, even though on the outside.
A marriage where you do that.
It was easy, because that's what.
Okay, well, this is something that she screwed up. So good work. That was the end, everybody. So guess we'll never know what his marriage was like. All right. Well, let's take bets. Let's start a betting thing. How many weeks until so guys, we didn't plan for this, but we're dating announcement comes from these two lovebirds over here, Miss Heidi and Mr. Drew. We love you. We love you guys. Rooting for you. You're the couple that can make it. If anyone can make it in this world, it's you guys. We believe in you. We believe in you. We believe in you. Nobody's better than you two. Fat to fit, married to divorced to married. We were divorced and then we got married to each other. That could be the new hit ABC show. Married to divorced to married. Our love story, Drew and Heidi. Our Hawaiian vacation. I don't know. That was a good one. Welcome back to Hollisville, everybody. Welcome. Welcome back, and I bid you adieu. All right. Now everyone's going to turn on me and get really freaking mad at me, okay? I have a feeling. Because I am going to take a non-liberal approach to this next story. Based on what I've seen so far, and again, I don't really have much of an opinion about Jonah Hill. I don't have any like, oh, I love him as an actor, so I have some sort of bias against him. But I did watch some videos about what happened, and I read the text, and I think that's what we're going to look at mostly. And I will come out with my stance, okay, in advance. So if you don't want to hear my take, which is going to be light on the Jonah Hill side, I'm not going to take his side fully, but I'm not going to be like, this guy needs to leave, because I think there's blame on both sides of this. I also think it's fair to have, even if it seems controlling, preferences in a relationship. And there's a difference to me when it's, saying that you have a boundary, whatever, labeling as boundary is kind of like annoying. Like all these, therapy speak things are sort of annoying, and I am annoyed by that, like misusing the words. But to me, there's a difference. If you're saying like, hey, this is what I want in a wife, this is what I want in a husband, and if you can't fit that, then we should break up, is different to me than saying like, you cannot leave this relationship and I'm going to manipulate you and not give you an out or lie to you. Like, it seemed like he was giving her a choice and he was being controlling, and she could choose not to be controlled. And that was the solution. But again, I think, why are we reading these private text messages? And this should not be public consumption, because we don't know all the history. We don't know all the details, and the timing does seem weird. So that's my initial thoughts. So let's jump into it. I like I said, I think people will be angry with me based on my previous opinions that come off a little bit more forgiving of people who have been canceled in the public. So fair warning, okay? JB says, thank you, JB. JB says, Kia, when's tour? You're 10 times funnier than Rach. Here's my best Rach impersonation. Comedian. Do you guys ever wonder like what guys would do if they had to go to the mall and buy dresses like ladies do? Wouldn't that be so crazy? Wouldn't that be crazy? Like, can you imagine a guy with testicles wearing a dress? Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. He's so crazy. Like with polka dots on it. One time I farted and it got all over my pants. It was crazy. And the crowd went wild. Crowd went crazy. That's my best Rachel on stage doing comedy. Thanks, JB. Okay, here we go. We're gonna jump in. Okay, so let's look at the players of this story. So we know who Jonah Hill is. Now, Jonah Hill, I think it's important to note, got rid of his Instagram before this event happened, before this article came out, before his ex-girlfriend released these screenshots. So it seems to me, and I feel like this is the vibe I got from reading some things about him today, is that he's the type of dude that doesn't really want to have the celebrity couple thing, like Jennifer and Brad Pitt. Like, they're both in the entertainment industry. They're both like public figures. He seems to be into the idea of having a private girlfriend and him being the public figure. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't go out in public together, but it seems like he picks women that have careers and that are successful, but are outside of the entertainment industry. He had a girlfriend that they were engaged at one point. So he had a fiance that was like a content manager of like a brand, but wasn't like the face of the brand, it seemed. But she was like in a modeling family, but it didn't seem like she was the model. Then he dated this woman, Sarah, who's a surfer. There was some like confusion as to whether she is a pro surfer also, because a lot of the arguments I've seen, kind of against Jonah is that her career as a pro surfer depends on taking photos and there's contractual obligations that he was sort of making her lose out on money, which might be true, but I read an article that says she's never been a professional surfer. She was actually doing something else, and now she's in law school. Not that that is, still, I think if a guy told me I can't wear a bathing suit, well, we would break up. But it's a little different. People are saying like he forced her to lose her livelihood. It's like, I don't know if that's fully accurate to say, but it could be. I'm just saying there was some discrepancy as to whether she actually was a full-time, a professional surfer. But I think it's important. So let's take a look-see at a couple different things. We're going to look at all of the... There's this one, I think it's, I forget what article it was, but let me bring it up. Here's her Instagram, and she posted a lot about this today and since early July. Now, again, the timing of this is weird a little bit because Jonah Hill and his current girlfriend had just had a baby, and people have accused Sarah of, exposing these screenshots after the baby was born. And she said she waited until the baby was born so that the mother wouldn't have like negative physical effects from like stress. But also I feel like having a newborn baby is not the best time either to kind of bring up a lot of drama necessarily. Personally, I think, you okay, the baby's born now, you could be stressed. Like that's a great time to feel under pressure or to be, confronted with something publicly embarrassing. Okay, hold on. Text, but whatever. We'll allow it, I guess. So this, okay, the full transcript. Okay, so I think it's important to go through all of the transcript. Now this was written, it was updated yesterday, so this is fairly new, hot goss. Not gossip, but it is gossip, I guess, at this point. But yeah, I think let's go through it and then we'll go more into the details. So this is the recap. Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend, Sarah Brady, has continued to share Instagram story posts showing text messages that she alleges she received from the actor during their relationship, which she has since described as emotionally abusive. Now, I'm not the emotional abuse police. I'm not the emotional abuse court. I'm not the emotional abuse judge. And she also says she's held back some things so that his family won't be affected. So there could be something going on that maybe is egregious more than I have seen. But to me, I don't personally see emotional abuse. That's just me, again, because he was saying basically like, this is my line, take it or leave it. And she left it. I mean, I don't know where the abuse is coming in, but that's me again. Brady, a surf instructor and model, began sharing screenshots on July 7th of these alleged exchanges. Hill, the 39-year-old star of Superbad, and Brady went public with their relationship in August 2021 and then split up in 2022 when she moved to Hawaii to go to law school. And so she put, quote, "This is a warning to all girls. If your partner is talking to you like this, make an exit plan. Call me if you need an ear." Okay, a couple things with that. So she shows these text messages from Jonah, allegedly, because we don't know if they're true. He has not confirmed that that's from him. It's like got a picture of him and it says Jonah, but that could be from literally anybody. So it's still alleged text messages. A couple things with this that I don't like. A warning to all girls. Okay. I mean, I use the girls all the time to speak about women, and I know it's a problem, but I do it because girl, wash your face, was popular for so long. It forced me to do this. No, I just have a problem with remembering to say like women. I don't know. I always use like my girlfriend, my girls. Like that's it. I'm problematic. Okay. So she's talking to the girls. If your partner is talking like this, make an exit plan. Okay, call me if you need an ear. Who? Like the girls in your Instagram? Like we can't actually call you, like, unless you know you personally, which 99% of the people who are following you don't. Is it really to help girls, or is it just to expose him and embarrass him? I personally think it's to expose her ex-boyfriend and embarrass him and make him look like a bad guy, which a lot of people agree he is a bad guy. But again, I don't think it's fair to put him out on blast, personally. She shared messages that allegedly showed Hill requesting that she remove surfing photos from her Instagram account that showed her ass in a thong. Okay. Again, not a text that I would find fun, cool, great to have, and I would probably lead to a breakup. But is it worthy of being released? I say no. Okay. And then she said, I'm sure the timing can seem bad. Like, oh yeah, I waited until he had a kid, said Brady on Instagram. And then she said, but I waited until she had her baby. So I knew they were like physically not impacted by me sharing this shit. And she could be informed and make an informed decision of how she wants to care for herself and her baby, which she birthed and she created. The choice is kind of late now. Like, what's her choice? Become a single mother, or, you know, like, it's sort of like, okay, I guess, like, again, like, I feel like she's grasping for straws a little bit. Like, it's her baby. It's also his. It's also half of his. Yes, she birthed it. Yes, she created it. She, like, kept it in her womb. But, like, it is 50% his DNA. Come on. Like, we can't deny that. It like, in a legal court battle, he does have rights to this child too. So it seems like kind of a weird thing to say. It says, yes, it's his child, but that is that woman's infant. That's how I see it. I don't get it. I don't get it. An Instagram post posted between Monday night and the early hours of Tuesday morning, Brady shared more screenshots of alleged text message exchanges. Brady said she and Hill had continued to communicate as friends for months after they split. Okay, I don't know about you, but all of my ex-boyfriends, I think I've communicated with them months after we broke up because I have a hard time letting go. So that doesn't seem that crazy to me personally. She added that their final exchange took place on August 31st, 2022, after Hill told her that he had embarked on a new romantic relationship. Okay, so we're going to get into that. She said, it may seem as if I'm sharing a lot, but you all have no idea how much more there is, which I am choosing not to share out of consideration for him and his family. Okay, so we'll never know. Again, I open it up to be that there's something crazy that she's not sharing, that she wants to share, but she, again, has shared quite a bit and has made quite a joke about it. Like, for example, on her Instagram, all these stories, are basically related to this. Like, okay, there's quite a lot, as I can see. Like, she's talking about, other people's posting about it and responding, making a joke. Like, this picture is Jonah Hill's worst nightmare. We'll talk about that. I think that's kind of funny because it's like he doesn't want her to be in a bikini with a surfing, surfboard. Okay. Then she has a whole thing, like she made a highlight. I don't know, screenshots. Okay, here's I wholeheartedly disagree with this take from Kathy Griffin, but I'll play it.
What I want to say is this girl who put them out, Sarah Brady, the ex-girlfriend, I think it's a good thing that she did that. And just hear my pitch. There isn't a space right now for women to express that particular thing. First of all, I've been treated by guys like that, and guys that want to diminish you and stuff. But she's not saying she was sexually assaulted, so she's not going to go to the cops. I don't even think she's saying verbal, because it's like text or whatever. But I do think it's a good thing that younger people, younger women, are able to express this stuff, because in my time, there was nobody you could say it to. And she's already not being believed by a lot of people, but at least she gets her piece out there.
I think everyone I believe what she's saying. I believe that the texts are real. I believe that she was hurt by it. And I believe that she believes that it was emotional abuse. I just tend to disagree. I think there should be a bigger line, a stronger line, or else just, talk to your friends, your family. You can, maybe in this case, talk more vaguely about it, it's sort of the opposite of what I was saying is an interesting story. But if you wanted to like share your story about overcoming abuse or surviving abuse, she sort of calls herself a survivor, which I think is a little strong too, of a term for what she's shown thus far personally. And I know, I'm sorry, you're going to hate me all. I know. But that's how I feel. I feel like there's a better way to do it than exposing text messages. Like, of course, we're all interested to see it. And it's kind of anybody, like anyone seeing text messages, it kind of is like that voyeuristic way of like seeing someone's life and their thoughts, their private, moments. I don't know. I think it's interesting, but I also feel like it's a violation of that person's trust in that it's private. And for that, I feel bad. Okay. And then it says, let's just go through this before we go through all the text. Just remembering that at some point after the breakup, I gently let him know I was still struggling with not feeling slutty just for wearing a swimsuit. And the only thing he said was, don't villainize me. But then she also accuses him of using her for emotional support after the breakup. But then she's asking for emotional support basically by saying, like, I was telling him I was struggling with not feeling slutty for wearing a swimsuit. I mean, his response, sucks. It's selfish. It's about him. But also, you guys are broken up. So it's sort of your responsibility at that time to, figure out those feelings. If you guys are no longer in a relationship and he's openly in another relationship, it would be inappropriate for him to go back and like try to, emotionally support you and help you get through this, I think. And I think it'd be unfair to the new girlfriend. Thank you to Reina de la Cruz. Thank you so much. Reina de la Cruz chose a Shiba dog happily massaging his cheeks with his mouth wide open. Well, there you go. And for that I say,
it's a portal, the way the Harry Potter books are a portal.
This is a portal to Voldemort.
Lord Voldemort.
I'm sorry, I mean Lord Voldemort. We're going straight to Azkaban for talking about this. Okay? And also I want to say,
people want their news from flawless, beautiful faces.
And that's why I'm here to serve. Thank you, Reina de la Cruz. I appreciate that. And also, Ashbeck. Or Asbach. A-S-B-H-K. Okay. I'm not sure of the pronunciation. Okay. Look up the power and control wheel diagram of abuse. Emotional abuse often escalates to violence. People need to be warned about abusers. Okay. Fair point. However, I find it when you say like he's an emotional abuser, right? You do think, okay, it must have escalated to a certain point. Did it escalate to violence? Did it escalate to this level? And I don't think that's the case unless we're missing something, a big part of the story where something has happened with this particular case. Now, she dated him, presumably, after the other incident happened that we'll talk about after this with the Nickelodeon star, the Nicola, or what's her name? Alexa Nicola from Zoe 101. Now, that is a whole different thing. I'm trying not to muddle it too much because we didn't know that until after. And it's alleged, from her. So I don't know. I hate to say, like, there's this really good documentary. If you don't like this type of stuff, like nuance and like lines and all that, you'll hate it, or ethics of certain things. But it's The Cannibal Cop. And basically it's like a documentary about this guy who was doing a bunch of bad stuff on the internet and like talking about this stuff. But basically it doesn't matter what the point of the movie is. But it was like, can you arrest somebody before they've done something? And the answer, at least in America, is no. If they have not committed a crime, if they've not taken it to a level, like you're kind of SOL, unfortunately. But also that protects people who are being falsely accused. Now, I know a lot of people say, fuck falsely accused people. It's still better to arrest them and then figure it out later. But imagine yourself in that situation, being arrested for something you haven't done. So I think it's always better to err on the side of caution, even though sometimes it sucks. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm going down a weird rabbit hole, but we can look that up. And I think that's, a fair point, but I just feel like we jump too far into conclusions without knowing enough. then you can, label someone like an abuser, which is a horrible thing to be labeled too fast. And then it's too late. Now everyone thinks you're an abuser. They haven't like gone back and said, wait, actually, okay, here's a great example of this. Do you remember in Miami when the homeless guy took bath salts and then ate someone's face off, right? Everyone's heard that story, right? The zombie guy in Miami. Turns out later the toxicology came out. Oh, he didn't eat bath salts. There was no drugs in his system at all. Everyone still says, oh, that guy was on bath salts. Now there's this whole thing about bath salts, which bath salts are bad. But in that particular case, everyone moved on before the truth came out. And it's like, I just don't want to do that. I think that's unfair to people. And it's like everyone doesn't care about the justice system until they're in it, like, okay, you think all lawyers are scummy until you need a lawyer. Like, that's sort of how I feel. Like, let's just look first before we jump to conclusions. Anyways. Thank you for the super chat. Okay, so she's saying, don't villainize me. That's what he said. Okay, then people are supporting her. And then she's saying, like, listen to survivors. Okay. And it says, if I ever spoke to someone the way my ex spoke to me, I hope they would expose me on the internet and hold me accountable. I guess. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't. Okay, more text messages. It says, some well-intentioned people think I have shared enough and are suggesting I stop. I am on that camp, as you can tell. And it says, I believe this type of abuse is important to talk about, especially for the sake of young girls tuning in here. I will keep sharing as many educational materials as I please. And it's her right to share it. She can share whatever she wants. I just find it to be, we're in the petty arena now. Like, you've said the piece. Is there more to share? We'll see. Time will tell. Yeah. Oh wait. Okay. So this is the Alexa Nicolas stuff. We'll get to that later. Okay. This is someone who's saying that they were triggered by this story.
Super triggered because I've been in a very similar situation where someone has been exercising coercive control over me, and I'm going to share some screenshots of messages between myself and this person showcasing their emotional abuse, also showcasing some gaslighting, and it's definitely emotional manipulation here. And the reason why I'm sharing this video is because I think I just want to create more awareness around coercive control. It's a really hard thing to articulate when you have been abused with coercive control. And I think that's something that's super important to make everyone aware of, is that in Australia in particular, we actually don't have any laws that protect anyone from coercive controlling.
When I saw this, I was like, what law? Like, these text messages broke a law, like should have laws against them, that he said, I don't want you to wear a bikini on Instagram. Like, I don't agree with that as a premise of like, you should tell a woman or tell a man, don't wear this, don't go here, don't do that. But what law, like in this case, I don't know. I'm missing something. Like, again, like I'm missing he should go to jail for this. Like, I don't, it's very interesting to me. Let's go back for a second. So in case you haven't not seen the full text messages, let's read them and then we'll go back. Okay. So, all right, here we go. So she waited till the girlfriend had a baby. She shared the screenshots. Okay. Do we see these screenshots here? Okay. This is just it written out. Okay, so Newsweek has viewed and transcribed all of the former couple's alleged text message exchanges shared starting from October 2021 until August 2022. Okay, several screenshots posted were undated, so have been placed in the order they were posted and or reflecting the flow of conversation. Okay, here we go. This is going to be a script narrative. Oh, okay. Ready? Thank you. Thank you to ASBHK. That's how I'm going to say it now. Says, emotional abuse is violent in itself. It doesn't have to escalate to be taken seriously. There's no perfect victim. Yes, but I do think it's important. And again, I apologize for my take. that violence is violence and verbal abuse or emotional abuse is emotional abuse. And we should be able to separate the two, because when you start to say your words are violent, you lose a little bit of the seriousness of physical violence, in my opinion. And I think words are important. Come here, Kitty. And that's all I'll say in the subject. But I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying I don't have the same feelings. And I'm not saying you're wrong. It's not like I'm right and you're wrong and that's it. I have a different perspective on it. And, to be fair, it's because probably I have not experienced physical violence in a relationship or verbal, well, I guess it depends on verbal abuse, but, never in a long-term period of time with a partner. So, and Kitty says hello. But thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, here we go. October 12th, 2021. Sarah, I'm sorry I said that. I had a couple beers and I'm just upset, feeling like we can't do social things without an uncomfortable situation arising that usually feels like my fault somehow. I feel you pull away and then the feeling of being defective creeps in. I think I'm not socially intelligent enough to meet your needs as a partner, and then I get frustrated and angry at myself and just want you to rip the Band-Aid off. I'm not good enough if I'm not good enough for you. In moments of conflict, my brain thinks you want to dump me because I'm not good enough for you and you're the GOAT, greatest of all time, and you can do better and you will immediately once you end things with me. Okay, so that seems to be a fear that she has that sort of did come to fruition, which is they're going to break up and he's going to find someone else. And that's sort of what happened. So I wonder if that is some of the motivation, if not all, if some of the motivation of coming out like this in this way at this time. Okay, then he responds, Jonah, okay, this is his response. You're right. We can't do social things or develop trust until you consider me and make decisions that give regard to our relationship. I have been vulnerable as possible, and I am telling you, I am needing you to step up to the plate, which you can, I'm sure of it. But these losers don't get your time if you want me, straight up. It's consideration. I respect your love of surfing, but I respect myself as well. And your love of surfing and being in those situations and lack of awareness are not mutually exclusive. This isn't me. I have my own issues that I own. If you want marriage and family, you can't use the 25 card. So I guess she was 25 at the time, I'm assuming he means. Step up and cut shit. These people don't get your time or your kindness at the sacrifice of mine. And then it says, so then Sarah added in the postscript caption that by these people, he meant any friend of mine that he hadn't personally approved of. Okay. So that does seem controlling to me. I'm not saying like, this is a perfect, genuine guy that is so wonderful and has no flaws. No, that's not what I'm saying. There is controlling here. But again, we don't know the details. We don't know who he's talking about. She's saying that it's anyone that she hung out with. Is that true? We don't know because we're not them. Okay. Then, done explaining myself. So Jonah says, respect however you want to live your life. You only get one. Sort of done with explaining myself. Okay. Then she says, 3 removed, not the video yet. It is my best surfing video. Would you feel better if the cover frame was different? Any more specific ones that bother you? So she's talking about removing photos from her Instagram. And he says, yes, one that isn't your ass in a thong. Not a thong, but okay. And that's what she said. And then he said, and as far as other pictures of you in a bathing suit, surfing or not. Okay, again, controlling. He's obviously insecure, but she has a choice. He's not threatening her in any way that I can see, where if she doesn't take these photos off, something bad's going to happen. It's like, we're going to break up. But I feel like that should be allowed. You should be able to have, preferences and things. Like, you tell someone to do something and they don't do it. Okay, well, that's the end. Like, okay, sorry. And then Jonah, in response to the text that said, not a thong, but K, he says, I'm done. There's tons. I'm just going back the past month. You want to argue and I don't. And she says, you're done? What does that mean? And he says, I'm over explaining myself. And then she says, all the posts I removed from my page. And then he says, good start. You don't seem to get it, but it's not my place to teach you. I've made my boundaries clear. You refuse to let go of some of them, and you've made that clear. And I hope it makes you happy. And then he says, literally just say hello and leave the conversation. I love how your therapist thinks I suck. I literally am the best boyfriend on earth. Okay, yeah, I'm sure. Now this, I don't know. To me, these seem like, again, a little bit out of context. Like she, I don't know. Like, is there a situation that happened where she's like, oh, this, I don't know. I'm like making up things in my own head because I don't know the scenario. So I don't even want to do that. But I just feels like there's something I'm missing here that is purposely left out or left out that I just can't fill in the blanks. Like maybe something had happened. I'm not sure. Okay, then he says, plain and simple, if you need surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post photos of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, friendships with women who are in unstable places, and from your wild recent past, beyond getting lunch or a coffee or something respectful, I am not the right partner for you. If these things bring you to a place of happiness, I support it, and there will be no hard feelings. These are my boundaries for a romantic partnership. My boundaries with you based on the ways these actions have hurt our trust. Okay, this part I have not seen in any other TikTok videos or anything, and maybe I'm just, it's purposely leading me astray. But it says, my boundaries with you based on the ways these actions have hurt our trust. Now, I feel like that is important. If you're just saying for no reason whatsoever, you cannot surf with men, you cannot wear a bathing suit, blah, 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 blah. Again, controlling, is it abusive? I say no, but okay, he's saying what he wants in a partner. That's the thing. It's like, if you're dating and you say, I want a woman who wants to bear children. That's what I want. And you go, well, I can't bear children, or I don't want to have children. Is that abusive? Like, what is the line? Like, there is no clear-cut answer. So that's why I think the whole thing needs to be based on consent. Like, can you leave the relationship if you don't agree? Yes. Okay, then I'm not seeing the coerciveness. And also, we don't know if something had happened. Like, maybe he's saying surfing with men specifically because when the last time she surfed with a man, there was like a guy who was trying to date her and marry her, and it was uncomfortable for him or something. Like, there's more context that I feel like, again, I need before I can make a leap to say abuse. Okay, and then he says, oh, and modeling, which is the last profession I would be with as a partner. And then she says, thought pics. And he responds, but LOL, must be hard feeling so trapped. And then she said, well, maybe you should have asked me more about what I do for work before you decided to date me. A little late now. And he says, keep taking me for granted. Go model. It's a fulfilling life. You'll love it. Real depth and substance and sustainability for relationships. But actually, I'm done with this conversation. Okay. And then, so it's just constant. This is him. It's just constant and doesn't reflect where we're at or where you say you want to be. I respect your skill and your surfing. I respect how you want to present yourself. I respect that you're hot and beautiful. And I respect however you want to live. But I also respect myself and what I'm interested in my own life, and what I let into my heart and my inner circle. So celebrate yourself and your life however you please and shine bright, but I don't want to have to deal. Again, like, he's not saying you cannot wear a bikini on Instagram. He's saying, if you want to do that, I don't want to be a part of it. I feel like that's a fair thing. If you're a woman and you're dating a guy and he says, I want to sleep with strippers every night. And you're like, I don't want to deal with that. And you go, well, then, let's break up. Is that abusive? Again, like, I don't know. I don't understand the line. Okay. River Lake. Thank you, River Lake. River Lake says, my contribution towards Taro's treat fund, AKA priceless juicy nuggets.
You're going to get priceless juicy nuggets.
She says, priceless juicy nuggets for me. Here you go.
Priceless juicy nuggets.
Priceless juicy nuggets. Priceless juicy nuggets, little kitty.
What else? Also,
deep belly laughs.
She's not amused. Thank you, River Lake. I appreciate that. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. She says, so she responds. And then this part I also thought was sort of interesting and kind of different. And people will say, well, she didn't know. She didn't have time to reflect. Fair enough. But okay. He responds to, okay, wait. I agree with everything you said. Okay, responding to, I guess she had said, I agree with everything you said, except I am not comfortable with you posting bathing suit pictures. Okay, so she had said back to him, I agree with everything you said. So the surfing with men, the this and that, I'm assuming is what this means here. He's responding to that, where she said, I agree with everything you said, except I am not comfortable with you posting bathing suit pictures. So that's the only one she doesn't agree with. Okay, fair enough. Okay, and then he says, nor may I ever want that from my partner, and I reserve that right, and I'm open about it. Let me know. We'll respect you either way, but these are my boundaries of this romantic relationship. Thanks. I'd love to know before the premiere, so I'm not put in the position of publicly flaunting our love if my boundaries are going to be continued to be disrespected. That would be hurtful and triggering for me. And she said, understood. Okay. And then he says, so think about it. Think about if posting bathing suit pictures on your social media identity, whatever that means that much to your life. And if it does, all good. But that's not what I'm interested in a partner. We wouldn't even be having this conversation if you had any sense of how often or how excessive it was and is. So therefore, it presents a way larger issue of why you need to do that, and no in wetsuits to display your brilliant surfing skills. One I'm willing to discuss in therapy, but the truth underneath it presents a way larger issue, which is what you need and get out of doing that, and what that means for our relationship. So yeah, I'm clear-headed, ... Okay. So to me, the way I read this, and again, I'm leaping, I don't know, is that he's saying it's not the bikini pictures, it's not the ass shots, whatever, that he's accusing her of posting, whatever. It's because of the validation that you're getting from it or something, or because of who's looking at them or something. It's the deeper reasons as to why you feel the need to post that stuff. That's what he has the issue with, according to this text. So then she put a caption on that, because she shared that one on Instagram, and said, don't remember the date on this one, kept them all in a hidden folder for a reference for myself when I was feeling like I was losing my mind and was terrified of him ever finding it. Okay, so now this is the part where they sort of have the tiff. So this is August 30th, 2022. He says, I'm around in a few hours. You on, Sarah? I guess is what he meant. Hey, Jojo, today's a busy one, but I might skip the panel. He says, well, I'm free at 2 my time for an hour if you want to catch up. Other than that, pretty slammed. And she says, I want to, but can't leave my contracts class 45 minutes early. I can call at 11:40 my time, 2:40 your time, or if I get let out early, I'll call then. And then she says, what's tomorrow like for you? You free anytime between 2:40 and 6 your time? Now, they had already broken up at this point. Just FYI, it's important to the context. And he says, I don't want you to bail on school. That's important. I know I don't need to, but in the spirit of pure respect to our friendship and appreciation for each other, I did want to be transparent that I did start dating someone recently. I'm sorry if that is painful. It just happened. I didn't want to not be transparent with you ever, as I care about you. Okay? I don't know if that one's bad. I think that one's pretty normal. Then she says, thanks for letting me know. Probably best if we don't talk for a while and you figure out where that's headed. Okay, think that's pretty mature too. And he says, I appreciate and understand that. Okay. And then she says, impressive turnaround time, by the way. Seems like she's angry, which she's fair to be angry, but angry is different than I think what she's alleging here. All right, then Sarah, she shares a screenshot of a magazine article that identifies the woman he's kissing. So this is, I think, his new girlfriend, I believe, that he has the baby with, perhaps, or maybe a girl in between or something, or sorry, a woman in between. See, it's my problem. A woman in between. The news person, TMZ or whoever it was, thought it was Sarah Brady and used her name in like the article. And so she shared a screenshot of that and said, can you just let your publicist know that ain't me trying to start a career over here? Okay, fair enough. Then August 31st, so this is a day later. Okay, the next day. Not that it's really my business, but out of my own personal chicks before dicks code, if that's headed anywhere, so talking about the relationship he's in now, if that's headed anywhere other than hookup or fling, I appreciate if you make that woman aware of how recently you've been flirting with me, sexting me, and leaning on me for partner level emotional support. To me, that seems like she's coercing him into doing something that he doesn't want to do. Like, you need to tell your new girlfriend how recently you've been texting me, sexting me, whatever. They're broken up. I don't understand why that is her business at all. So then he says, I'm sorry, what? Then he says, I have been there for you as a friend, which I have made very clear. And not only is it not your business, as I only mention it to you out of respect and friendship, but I have not been flirting with you or sexting you in any way where it would be inappropriate at this time to start dating someone. And if anything, I have felt for your change and tried to be a good and supportive friend as you transition to a scary new environment. So she moved to Hawaii from California. That's what he's referencing there. And to be crystal clear, I have not flirted or sexted with you in any way, shape, or form in months, and went to say goodbye to you as a super kind gesture that you seem to have appreciated because it was kind. Because she did seem interested to meet up with him or to call him before she found out that he was dating someone else. I'm just saying. And then he says, I'm sorry if it's upsetting that I would move on at all 6 months later, but I have handled you and I with utmost love and respect. Thanks. Don't ruin all the kindness. You're better than that. And then she responds to him saying, as you transition to a new scary environment, meaning law school in Hawaii. And she says, never really seen it as scary. Okay, there's them before they broke up. Okay. And then she responds to him saying, and to be crystal clear, I have not flirted or sexted with you in any way, shape, or form in months. Okay. Then she posts screenshots from a month prior. So again, this is August 30th when they're talking, 31st. And she posts screenshots of a message from him from July 13th. So that would be a month and a half. So technically, yes, it hasn't been months. It's been a month and a half. That read, no, just holding. And then it was blurred out, I guess. So I'm assuming that's some sort of, I'm holding my penis or something. I don't know. I'm just assuming, I don't know. But some sort of sext. Okay, then she says, whatever helps you get through the day. Gotta focus on mine now. Adios, we. And then he says, nice new side of you, Sarah. I care about you and will always be your friend, as I have been. Yes, we sexted 2 months ago. Again, I don't know. That seems fairly normal. Like, you break up with somebody and then, 6 months go by, but you're still texting and stuff. And then you meet someone else 2 months later. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm like more open and not as like rule based, but I think that sounds fine and reasonable. Okay. And then, so he responds to her saying, oh, I didn't think moving to Hawaii was scary. That's scary. And then he says, right, and I'm proud and stoked for you, as I have been. This isn't my way of communicating. Much respect, Sarah, red heart emoji. I know you'll crush it at school. Good luck. Never expected this from you after all the care and love I've put into being there for you post-breakup. Take care, Sarah, and after what I shared with you about my privacy and anxiety, I'm just in shock, actually, at how you're behaving, even as a friend. Okay. And then it gets into, I guess, I don't know at what point she posted publicly or she had posted to her friends or something, but now he's going to confront her about sharing these texts with people. He says, screenshotting intimate texts between us is a huge triggering violation for me and breach of trust as a friend. As I have explained to you about breaches of trust I have had between trusted friends recently that have caused me trauma. I'm on his side at this point. It's like, especially if he has told her, like, he's a famous person and people have like broken his trust and now she's going to post stuff publicly. Seems kind of messed up. I am incredibly hurt and feel a lack of safety where I have always trusted you. I'm sorry if a former partner moving on is painful, and I empathize with that. But I have done nothing wrong, and if I wasn't a public person, I wouldn't face this kind of violation. And having shared that with you, and then watching you be like this today, shatters my ability to trust anybody even further. I have always shown you kindness and support. I mean, that seems reasonable. Totally. Okay. Like, you're allowed to be a jerk. I guess that's the thing. You're allowed to be a jerk. Point blank. You should be allowed. Allow people to be jerks. Get out of their lives. Move on from them. And that's what she did. And good on her. She moved to a totally different state to get rid of this guy. But he should be in jail? No. He should be publicly ridiculed? No, I don't think so. Okay. And he says, I have nothing to hide in my life, but I still am entitled to safety and privacy, just like you or anyone else. I thought I'd understand and honor that. I think he meant to say you'd, but I don't know. This has really shattered my sense of faith in that you were a human I could trust. I thought we would always be friends, Sarah. I've done nothing wrong, and I'm sorry if you're bummed, but this line of texting today has really deeply let me down and broken my trust as a friend. And then she says, I'm just showing your own text to me. Can you put yourself in my shoes for a second? How I might feel gaslit by your behavior and communication? Okay, fair. And then he says, I'm happy to speak on the phone, but no, I have been supportive of you and a friend. And then she says, you have. Okay, interesting. And then he says, and eventually one of us would move on. And I knew that. And it's been 6 months, and I feel that is appropriate. And she says, it's complicated. Sure, phone call could help, but not now. I have a busy day ahead of me, work to do. Okay. Fair. And then he says, so to say to feel gaslit when I was being nice is absurd. You are hurt that I kissed someone and I'm beginning to date. Fair. You have not been gaslit. You have been treated, in fact, incredibly, both emotionally and financially. So there literally is no winning for me. I don't know what financial. I think he bought her a house at some point, perhaps, but maybe not. And then he says, and a trusted ear when you needed one. And eventually I moved on after you moved away, like a gentleman. Okay, roll my eyes. And was stalked outside of my home. And I'm being framed as inappropriate or gaslighting for it. And I won't stand for it. And I'm letting you know I don't participate. I have treated you beautifully. I am sorry you are hurt. I have been hurt by certain things you have done. I am sorry the media is allowed to stalk me. I mean, yeah. And he says, as someone who claims to care about me, I would think you would have seen my effort and not go and immediately victimize yourself. It sucks to see that. I wish you didn't have to. It sucks they said your name. The media is trash. They have all but ruined my life. But to say I haven't been awesome to you is absurd. I didn't expect this from you, Sarah. Call me if you need to talk today. After today, I can't keep holding on to this absurdity. I have given you 6 months of love, care, and compassion post-breakup. No good deed goes unpunished. Even you want to abuse my fame to victimize yourself when you have been cared and loved. We haven't had sex. I've taken care of you financially and been an incredible friend. Okay, now she says, you have been kind and supportive and also in need of my support. And that's been confusing to me as to where we stand. Okay, this is fair, but this is, again, like interpersonal stuff that happens in a lot of relationships. Like, where do we stand? You sexted me when you were drunk. Like, I was confused by that. I don't understand why you would do that if you're dating someone else. I'm mad about it. Totally, I understand those feelings. But why are you sharing it publicly? Why does the public need to know? We don't, still, in my opinion. Okay, you have been kind and supportive and also in need of my support, and that's been confusing to me as to where we stand. This is why I use the word gaslight. I'm not saying it's intentional. I am feeling really fucking shocked and confused right now, wondering how soon before you met me, you were still talking to Gianna. Okay, that's his ex-fiance before Sarah. 5 months ago, we were in escrow here. You wanted to put a ring on my finger and put a baby in me ASAP. And we've kept in pretty close communication since then. Okay, this again feels like she feels betrayed, and this is why she's upset. Okay, sad to hear you feel used by me. I feel used by you too. I feel like an idiot for believing that the future we were planning was real, and for adjusting my life in ways that accommodated your insecurities and jealousy and codependent, anxious, avoidant attachment style, and which left me in a less financially independent and less mentally well position than I would have been if I had ever met you. I feel years in other emotional ways I can get into on the phone. I don't know what that means. You've been leaning on me for support with your own personal stuff that has nothing to do with me as of very recently. Stuff that doesn't really make sense to share with an ex you're trying to detach from, so you can be ready to meet someone new. And so that you give that ex the respect of a little time and clarity before you move on. I'm not trying to victimize myself. I'm just a person with feelings. I have always felt like I had to be the emotional rock in our relationship, and now that we're not together, I get to be a full human with a full spectrum of emotions again. It's liberating. I think you're doing a lot of projecting with these texts right now. Gotta go. Need to finish this case brief before class. Can talk at noon Hawaii time. And then he says, or she says still, cool, I think that's for the best. I don't want to be confided in if you're dating other people. As for the finances, I'll get off all that shit ASAP, including my therapist. Okay, so it seems like he was paying for her therapist and maybe some other stuff, perhaps. After the financial promises you made to me and the work opportunities I turned down for you, it's been a lot of readjustment. I appreciated your patience and never wanted you to feel used. That's why I've kept in communication with you about it. Maybe next time try actually saying how you feel instead of people pleasing when you don't actually wanna and leaving other people confused. Okay. I know some people will say like, oh, because he told her to turn down work and things like, and he promised her money, so she deserves money. I don't know. That my personal take again on that is like, if women, and it could go both ways, but if people are independent, autonomous beings, which we are, unless there is a legal document that says you are promised this and that, it's like a business deal. Until the business deal goes through and you're signing the paperwork and the money comes in the mail, like you cannot trust that that's going to be there. You can get upset about it. You can be like, this is really pissing me off and this is really like screwed me over. But until it's legally bound, like people talk about a lot of stuff and change their mind all the time. So I don't find it to be fair to be like, well, I get to tell you when you're able to move on. Like she seems like she's trying to control him right back, which is like, I need more time before I'm ready for you to move on with your life. That seems unfair to me. Okay, and then she says, how do you think I feel over here thinking there was still hope for us, saving room in my heart for you, not able to make room for anyone else, being a solid emotional support to you the past 5 months, like a fucking idiot, doing that completely unaware you're in an emotional headspace to even be able to date people. Stupid me, once again, blinded by my love for you, putting up with things I shouldn't. Again, just feels like she feels misled because they were still texting and things after they broke up. That's probably true, but abusive, I don't think so. Okay. He says, there are so many insulting and incorrect things said in that paragraph. I will just choose to not get into or debate. I don't want to debate. You're someone I care about and did want a family with and was shattered when your behavior showed you weren't able to do that now. I didn't hate you for it. I was shattered because it was all I wanted, but I didn't hate you. I tried to remain close as a testament to my care and love for you. I'm sorry you feel these negative things, Sarah, but I know you don't. They're too untrue and just said with anger, which is fair. I'm glad you feel you get to be your full self and soar. That is all I could ever want from you, for you. Please take care of yourself, and I'm happy to pay for your therapy through the end of the year, even though you'll somehow punish me with that gesture. But I don't care because it's best for you. Be well, Sarah. All I want in my life is to be a family person and start a family. So that is and will be my immediate goal. I respect that yours is your career and respect it deeply. I hope we both get what we want. I mean, how is that disrespectful? I don't know. It's like I guess I just feel old, I guess, because the fact that people are like hearing this and going, yeah, fuck him. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm blinded. Okay. And then so she responds, they've been broken up for about 6 months. And then she responds to that. Not really about that, though. More about how you've been keeping me on as an intimate, emotional confidant up until at least literally last month. I deserve respect. You can't confide in 2 bitches at once. Pick one, brah. Stop using your fame as a way to victimize yourself. It has nothing to do with that. Fucking weird, dude. Okay. And she says, the big bummer is I would really truly be happy for you finding someone new that's a better fit for you if you had attempted to establish some healthy friendship with X boundaries with me instead of X I'm leading on about potentially getting back together within the future, lack of boundaries prior to getting into a new relationship. I've been given multiple opportunities for that. One example being 1 week ago, and you've turned them down. Good luck wifing anyone up with those shitty communication skills. Again, this just feels like someone who's been scorned, which it does hurt and it sucks, but, again. And he says, these texts are rude and untrue. I'm sorry you feel that way, but now I'm going to ask that you please stop texting me. Okay. Fair. I don't know what else you want him to say at this point. LOL, but you can blow me up after I said I have a big day ahead of me. You didn't respect my space. Now you want me to respect yours? Sounds about right. Finally had a chance to read through them all. Sounded like you really wanted a phone call with me. Probably the best way to hash it out quickly. I think you think I'm upset about the publicity, but it's not about that at all. It's about lack of respect in our private communications, not pics in the press of you and your new chick. Anywho, if you still want a call as desperately as you did in those texts, we can arrange a time. Again, it's like, what's the point of doing this? Like calling and texting and all that. It seems like this is someone who wants to air their grievances, not escape abuse. Okay. I've given this some thought. This is Jonah. I've given this some thought, and I really understand that you are hurt and upset by your former partner moving on and dating and having your name a part of that. That must suck. Us being cool is really important to me, and in that, I don't want to receive these angry messages. Let's just both chill and remember that we care about each other and had something special and beautiful that we are both thankful for. Okay. I don't think that's that bad either. Okay. And then she says, OMG, I love when you tell me how I feel instead of allowing me to express my own feelings. But I am slightly impressed by the rest of the things you've said in this message. So, okay, cool. We be chill for now. Again, like, he's saying, like, why don't we just squash this drama? And, you know, I think you're just hurt. I'm gonna overlook how hurt I am by these messages because I think you're just hurt, and I understand. And then she's like, oh, you're just telling me how I feel. I was like, okay, all right, whatever. Okay, and then this is a voice note that she sent to him, apparently. Okay, brah, I'm gonna just say this one time and let you sit with it before I take a canoe out to Waikiki with the girls. I need to chill. Maybe you should take to heart a little bit how I've said that it's not about you moving on as much. Sure, that hurts a little, all right. But the context here is how you've leaned on me like a fucking partner, emotional support system, and I've given you so many fucking opportunities to create healthier friendship X boundaries, which I've had before and I've watched my parents do. It's not abnormal to me, but it needs communication. You were literally sexing me 7 weeks ago, dude. I've given you opportunities since then to establish more of a friendship vibe. Brah, you can't have two therapist chick dating situations at once. If you want to give yourself to that woman, if you want to be present in dating someone, as you fucking should, you need to detach from me first and do me the fucking respect of allowing me the time to do the same before I see that shit. And yeah, it's not my business how you're going to emotionally cope with all that, but out of respect for me, fucking give me that clarity and space, or give me a couple weeks at least. I don't fucking know, more than just boom. Okay, so everyone's upset, not everyone, but a lot of people are upset that he's telling her, you can't, if we're gonna be together, you can't surf with guys, you can't post photos of yourself in a bikini while you're surfing, all that stuff. Okay, fair. That's a fair thing to get angry about and say that's a fucked up thing to tell someone. I get that. I also think, though, saying that you need to, I don't know. I mean, it's not the same thing, but she's saying you need to treat me differently by, I don't know. I guess it's not the same thing. It just seems like they both are trying to control each other's emotions back and forth. He's going to control her life by the Instagram stuff, and she's going to control him by well, you need to not text me and not, lean on me for support. It seems like they're just the wrong match here. Totally. Okay. And then he says, I hear you. And if I didn't create enough good ex-friend boundaries, then I apologize. I tried. When I came to say goodbye, I knew you were nervous about leaving and thought it was the kind of thing to do. And on that occasion, we spoke about being friends very, very clearly and established very clear boundaries and that we are friends and not romantic. And I thought that was very clear. From that point on, I felt comfortable pursuing new romantic endeavors. If I should have said that to you and failed to, I apologize. Okay. So he says, if I did that, I'm sorry. Maybe that's not the full accountability that he could have taken and said I did screw up. I'm sorry. But at least he sort of acknowledged that and said I thought things were different. It was a miscommunication. Okay. After that, I do not think I leaned on you as a partner whatsoever, respectfully. I was just trying to be supportive to you when you were going through it because you expressed you were having a hard time. I didn't want to be a bad friend. Maybe that was a mistake. If so, I truly apologize. Genuinely, Sarah, I respect you. I empathize on why this would be such, I don't know, this would such to see, I guess suck to see. And if I wasn't famous, you wouldn't have to. So let me just say, I will take responsibility, and that sucks. I mean, that is true. If he, like, people who aren't famous don't get their pictures taken on the beach and a headline magazine article comes up and says, your ex is dating someone else. Like, that does suck, but that does come with the territory, and it's unfair to him too. Like, he's not asking for, I'm assuming, the paparazzi to show up and blast his new relationship. Usually people can do stuff in private, and like he could be dating someone or getting to know someone or going on a Hinge date privately, and it would not affect his ex-girlfriend in any way. So it's just sort of a shitty situation. And then she goes, brah, that was 4 weeks ago, and you kept reassuring me that you want to and will visit me. You are really not clear. You were venting to me about family trauma. That is not appropriate to do with an ex. You're trying to create a clear friendship-only boundary with. This soon. Think on that, bro. I don't think she's wrong. But again, I don't think it's abusive to do that, to like misread a situation. You know, it's like no one's perfect. These things are, you know, fluid situations, I guess. Then he says, I will. And if talking about family stuff with you was inappropriate as friends, then I apologize. Okay, fair. Then she says, I need honesty, not emotional coddling that results in lack of truth and basically deception. FaceTiming all your best friends and acting like we're a modern family too. What the fuck was that? Or what the fuck? You were the only one who was emotionally struggling that day, and I was there for you, and I checked in with your friends afterwards to make sure they would check in on you, and I let them know I don't have the capacity to continue supporting you like that, but I need to make sure you are supported by someone. Okay, there's something happened that I wasn't there for, obviously. So I don't know what the context is. Then he says, because that is what my version of being friends. If that didn't work for you, then I am truly sorry. And then she says, yeah, I see that. And he says, that is me taking accountability and saying sorry. I was just trying to have a friendship. It is now clear we shouldn't have one. Fair. And she says, your friends can play the role of your therapist and be too accommodating and coddling. Still not okay to expect that from your ex. Without ties to that, like, that's not the kind of friend you should be doing that with unless there's more deep emotions there still. And again, that is her opinion. Like, he's like, that's your opinion. I respect that. Okay. Yeah. She's like, well, you can't do this. You can't do that. It's like, okay, that's fine. Like, but that's your opinion. That's not, you know, the law. You know, you must cut off boundary tactics. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe he's got friends that she doesn't know, or maybe the depth of their friendship is different than she sees. Maybe they act a certain way in front of her, but they're actually closer than she realizes. I don't know. There's like, it's not her business at this point. They're not dating. He's apologized for misleading her. So what does she doesn't get to tell him how to have friends, you know, as just like he doesn't get to tell her not to wear a bathing suit. That's why they're not meant to be together. And she says, I didn't find out because you're famous. I found out because you texted me. I only saw that photo later after talking to a friend about it. She sent it to me. I probably would have never saw it if you hadn't let me know. I do respect you letting me know, but your timeline is whack. So he even did her a favor by telling her. So it didn't, the first time she saw it wasn't in the magazine. Weird. Okay. And then he says, Sarah, I am taking accountability. If being friends wasn't in the right way for you, I was doing my best, and clearly I didn't live up to your standards, and for that I am sorry. He has said sorry about 1,000 times in this exchange. Okay, responding to, it is now clear we shouldn't have one, a friendship. She was referring to that line. Yeah, not right now, but if you figure out appropriate boundaries, maybe we can in the future. Okay. So now she's still open to a friendship if he can have the correct boundaries, and he says, fair enough. And then he says, I'm sorry if my honest attempt at friendship didn't align with your idea of correct boundaries or of friendship. And mostly, I am just sorry you're upset. I receive and respect your feelings and will absolutely learn a lesson from your feelings on this experience. Okay. And then she says, I don't think it was in the right way for you either. I just don't think you see that yet. How important it is to feel good on your own before you bring someone new in into your life if you want a real solid foundation in a relationship that's going to last long enough to have an actual equal partnership with that person and stick together. Okay, again, it's not your business. Like he's got a new girlfriend. Just move on. Like let this guy go. He's, just move on. That's my advice. And she says, good luck to you in your speed search for a wifey. Hit me up when you can be real, homie. Not a baby boy gameplay, conscious or not. Peace. Okay. It's very mature. And he says, thank you for sharing. I will take that in. And then she says, you trying to choose which chick to text about your something redacted, something, your something. Let's guess. You trying to choose which chick to text about your blank, thinking your most recent ex me is a reasonable option because you've been keeping me on the line while getting serious with someone new. And then she wrote so she was sharing this to Instagram, and she wrote in the caption, yes, I got angry in our final conversation because I finally felt like it was safe for me to get angry. I was far, far away from him. And there you go, folks. I don't know. Like, does that change your mind at all? I feel like when I read that, I was like, okay, this seems like personal drama. I don't agree with either side. I think they're both petty in certain ways. I think they both misuse therapy talk. I think they're not meant to be. I think he made it clear he wants a family. He immediately got with a girl and got a baby. That's what he wanted. He was clear about it and honest. So I feel like calling him a misogynistic, emotional abusing narcissist is a stretch, a huge stretch. And I would be upset if I was him. Because it seems like, again, like not everyone's perfect, especially in private. Like what you choose to share publicly about your life and about whatever is fair to be judged publicly because you are making the consenting choice to put that out there. Because she's making the choice for him, I feel it's unfair to judge him for like what he said. Like how you act publicly is one thing. How you text your girlfriend or your ex-girlfriend is your own business as a person that lives in this country. Like the government shouldn't be reading it and the public shouldn't be reading it unless you choose to put it out there as a couple. Okay, so let's go back to her Instagram. So now knowing the depth of the texts, let's watch more.
Behavior. Apparently these laws are coming in 2024. I'm not sure why they're not in.
Like what, let me go back to this, like the full thing about this, but like, what law would he have broken by those text messages? By being a bad boyfriend? Like, you're in jail. Like, I don't know. And I know she's not saying that explicitly, but like sort of the insinuations there. Like, Jonah Hill is a coercive, controlling abuser. There should be laws against that. Okay. Is that what I just read? I don't personally believe so.
I think I'm getting super triggered because I've been in a very similar situation where someone has been exercising coercive control over me. And I'm going to share some screenshots of messages between myself and this person, showcasing their emotional abuse, also showcasing some gaslighting, and it's definitely emotional manipulation here. And the reason why I'm sharing this video is because I think I just want to create more awareness around coercive control. It's a really hard thing to articulate when you have been abused with
Again, she shared this as like relevant to the situation, so I feel like it is relevant to watch this.
Coercive control. And I think that's something that's super important to make everyone aware of, is that in Australia in particular, we actually don't have any laws that protect anyone from coercive controlling behavior. Apparently these laws are coming in 2024. I'm not sure why they're not in place right now. However, I want to showcase these screenshots to give examples of where coercive control is and how it can...
Okay, so this is the examples. Now, again, it looks like this person she's involved in this situation is anonymous, and I'm assuming he's not famous. So it does sort of change it. Like, I'm going to share educational things about narcissists. I'm going to share whatever. I've called my mom like a narcissist on this channel before. you don't know what she looks like. You don't know her name. You don't know anything about my mom at all. So I feels like it's not personally hurting her by discussing that, even in a slight way. And I feel like that is the difference. Like, because you have a face to the name, she used it like openly, like this is him. Maybe it feels good to like out in what your mind is the abuser. But I also think then you take on the consequence of like, this person now has to live with this hanging over them forever, really, and it's, I don't know, that's a big burden to hold. Okay, so this is the example. So it says, wait, are you telling me you don't want me to get paid because you have a feeling about someone? And then he says, you didn't get paid though. Has he ever paid you? And then she says, if he asks me for a session, he will be paying. That's the first one I've ever done with him. Then he says, could be a client for blank, maybe. Okay, I don't know. This all seems subjective. Like, I had a friend who, her and her husband had a boundary where she would get massages and she would only get a massage from a woman. So if there was a man that was like working, she would say, oh no, I'll go somewhere else. Or, oh no, I'll wait for the female masseuse. Like, she agreed to it. So is it okay then? Like, people have different things that make them comfortable. I just think that needs to be, that's how you find who you're meant to be with, because you both have the same lines. You're not trying to control everyone and force them to be the partner that you deserve. It's like, find that partner for you. And then the caption is, a previous partner is attempting to control me by trying to dictate who I can train. I'm a personal trainer and they are using methods of emotional ...
Also, I'm absolutely loving any man that's getting triggered from these posts, or anyone that thinks that Jonah Hill is setting a healthy boundary. He's absolutely not.
Okay, so I don't know. There's not enough context to these texts, I guess. I didn't see anything blatantly horrendous.
So my advice,
maybe I'm just uneducated
to you, if you're getting triggered, you can simply press the unfollow button and move on with your life. Thank you.
Fair enough. Okay, it says, imagine if the roles were reversed and Jonah Hill's girlfriend was like, hey, I'm not okay with you telling jokes or making funny movies anymore because women find your sense of humor attractive. If you need to joke with women, I am not the right partner for you. This is a boundary of mine. I would feel exactly the same way, I think, which is like, yeah, good, break up. Yeah, that sounds stupid. Break up. She's not the right guy for you. She's not the right woman for you. He's not the right whatever. You know what I'm trying to say.
These Jonah Hill text messages.
Okay, now let's hear someone else's take. Someone who's much more critical than me, obviously.
Jonah Hill text messages that he's calling boundaries. Yo, shout out to DJ for bringing this to my attention. First, these texts are not a picture of boundaries, and Jonah's use of other manipulation tactics within this thread tells me he knows these aren't boundaries. Boundaries exist to protect the best parts of us. They serve as guidelines for our peace, safety, and well-being. At no point does his girlfriend surfing in a bikini, which is the way she earns her livelihood and what she was doing when he met her, her bikini does not threaten his safety.
Okay, yeah, not safety, but if you're uncomfortable, if you're so insecure that having other men like your girlfriend's picture online triggers you so badly, shouldn't you have the right to say, hey, I don't want you to do this, and if you keep doing it, then I gotta back off? I think you should.
And while it may expose his vast insecurities, her surfing next to men does not directly threaten his well-being or his peace. This is...
It could it could. If he's so insecure, that could mess up his peace. Now, I'm not saying that that's a token of a great person. Like, oh, wow, what an admirable person to want to, or to be so insecure that his girlfriend can't surf with other men. We're also missing the context as to why that's a problem for him, which I think may be part of the story, but, whatever. This is this woman's opinion, which, hey, I'm giving my opinion, but I think just to be like, this is the way, the rules of boundaries, it seems a little silly.
Coercive control. And if you're familiar with my content, you know I'm about to break down the pattern. Coercive control is a covertly prettied up attempt to erode a person's autonomy and self-worth while simultaneously dictating what that person can or can't do. Basically, through coercive control, the toxic manipulator uses a specific pattern to break their victim's true self down so that they can become the puppeteer.
Okay, I'm going to throw another thought out there. I think it'd be more controlling if he said, those pictures of you make you look like a slut. Those pictures of you make you look ugly and like a whore. Like that, if those were the text messages, I would be like, oh my God, okay. That to me is manipulative. And he's saying like, you suck because of this, this, and this. This, I feel like it's not a good list. It's, very, it's not misogynistic. It's just like old school mentality. Like you are mine and that's it. But it's clearly laid out. There's not a manipulative part for me. Again, like if you are, suggesting something else or trying to make you question your sanity, like who would ever like a picture of you in a bikini? That's one thing. But him saying, I don't like when you post those, it makes me insecure. I think that's okay.
Here and manipulate the victim the way they want to. First part of the pattern, they cloak the fact that they're trying to control you by positioning their argument as if they're looking out for the best interest of all parties. They do this by using plural pronouns. We, us, our, you and me, together.
Okay, but if she's saying it in that context, like, oh, we, us, you, and I together, what an asshole would say that. It's like, those are also words of endearment. Those are how you describe a relationship, a positive relationship. So it's sort of like, yeah, in this way, when you say it like that, it sounds horrible. You're right. It sounds manipulative. Like, oh, you said we'd go on a trip together. But how else are you supposed to say it? Like, yes, and when you are, like, in hindsight, everything's 2020, but like, should you go look into your text message and go, oh, my boyfriend said we should think about this together. It's like, what an asshole. I don't know.
Look what Jonah said. It's just constant, and it doesn't reflect where we're at. My boundary.
Or where you say you want to be. I think that's a fine statement. I have no problems with that. My boundaries with you based on the ways these actions have hurt our trust. I'm not saying the manipulation here.
Boundaries with you based on the way these actions have hurt our trust. First glance, this doesn't seem to be too bad, but coercive control is like an Alabama swamp. It may look all right on the surface, but there's some serious danger underneath what you see. What you're actually looking at is him ascribing plurality, we're, our, us, when the argument is really just his. Next comes the shaming. That manipulator begins to do and say things that allude you being you is wrong. It's disrespectful. It's lacking integrity, embarrassing, unacceptable. Jonah goes at it in this way. If you need surfing with men to model, post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, I am not.
I don't know if that was cut off on purpose, but boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men. I think that's also something that many couples discuss in advance and agree on. Like, okay, if we're exclusively dating each other, we're not going to have boundaryless and inappropriate friendships with the other sex. If you're a heterosexual couple. But she skipped over that one on purpose.
Not the right person for you. Well, that's facts. He attempts to make her feel shameful about her being her. He positions the very essence.
But not real. Yes, in that one specific one. But then later on, he's like, you're beautiful. I hope you can do whatever you want to do. Whatever gives you happiness. Whatever you want to do in your life. I support you. I respect you. Like, yes, he does explicitly say what he's looking for and thinks that like you're not living up to that. But he's like, I respect what you're doing. So
Sense of who she is as a deal breaker. In normal circumstances, if a person encounters multiple deal breakers, they walk away because this doesn't work for me. With coercive control, manipulators will call things deal breakers and then say, I'm walking away unless you change for me.
Oh, okay. So you should just keep this to yourself and like look at the picture. So maybe is that better? Do you think? Like if you have these thoughts, like you're like, I don't like my partner. I get insecure when they're, doing this stuff. Maybe if they didn't do it, it wouldn't bother me as much. But you can't bring that up because that's abusive control. So now you just say, we're breaking up. Why? Why are we breaking up? Why do you want to break up with me? Because what? Like, I just don't want to be with you anymore. And that's better, I guess. But then you would never get the answer as to why the relationship ended. But I don't know. I mean, I prefer to know, but maybe that's the dumber way to be. Like, it's better just to not know. Just break up and don't talk about it.
If it's your deal breaker, you leave and find someone who fits you better.
He did.
Coercive control always puts the onus on the other person to change. With coercive control, also be aware of open-ended demands. Just like an open-ended question, an open-ended demand is flexible, and the definition can continue to be tweaked to fit whatever that toxic person wants. Jonah throws out open-ended demands by saying things like this: boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men. What that mean? Friendships with women who are in unstable places and from your wild recent past.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Those two are like vague, but I'm assuming because they are in the relationship, she would know what he's referencing. I'm assuming something has happened in the past, or there's certain people he's, referencing here. That just seems obvious to me, but maybe not.
You see how these are open?
She's taking this situation in a vacuum, as if these people have never interacted before. So like they've just met and he's saying you can never see anyone from your past. But I'm assuming there's like a specific person from her friend group that he doesn't like. And he's saying like, I don't want you hanging out with her, without saying that, like, her name.
Open, and he can define what it means. If allowed, toxic people do this over and over again. After all these pieces of the pattern are thrown into the mix, then the blame game starts. Gone is the use of plural pronouns. Now it's I'm doing this and you're doing that. Jonah goes on a rant saying, I respect this, I respect that.
Again, we love each other. Ugh, what an abuser. I respect you. It's like, okay. When you say it like that, yeah, it sounds pretty bad. But also when you say, I respect you, that is another word of endearment, or a phrase of endearment.
I've been patient, but you don't seem to get it.
Okay, fair, I guess. Sure. I guess I'm on agreement with her there.
Refuse to let it go. Don't get me. And somewhere amidst this pattern, they throw in an ultimatum. It's the world, life, and relationship that you've built for yourself and grown to know and love, or me. But if it is me, because that's what we wanted, it's gotta be my rules. Jonah says, I'm tired of your attitude towards surf culture, that contest, and that place. F that contest, F that.
Now, I haven't seen these. What is this? Because I'm tired of your attitude towards surf culture, that contest, and that place, because I deserve respect. Fuck that contest, fuck that place, and fuck not respecting me always in every situation within surf culture, or you don't get it. And you don't get me. It's hurtful and unacceptable to me. Okay, again, I don't know what contest? What are we talking about?
That place, and F not respecting me. If these things bring you to a place of happiness, I support it, and there'll be no hard feelings. These are my boundaries for a romantic partnership. Again, these are not boundaries. If he really supported her...
What are they? What's a better word? Maybe it's the choice of words that it's bothering everybody. Maybe it's like preferences. My rules? I don't know.
Happiness. And it was truly a deal breaker for him. He could have walked away cordially. No.
But he did. He was saying like, okay, these are things that have to change for us to be together. If they don't, then I'm walking away. And he did walk away. That's the thing. I'm like, what do you... Walk away without telling her, I guess, is the answer.
Hard feelings, right? Instead, he continues to insist she needs to change to fit what he wants. Coercive control. To those in these internet streets shaming this young woman, it's not okay. But this type of abuse, these type of relationships are truly ones that you don't understand unless you've experienced them. And Jonah, like most manipulators do, does a fabulous job of covering up his coercion. He uses all the right words, seems to be respectful, considerate, cooperative. But when you...
Cooperative? Asshole.
You know the tactics. It's still as clear as day. Miss Sarah... Thank you for being brave enough to share your experience. So many of us remain silent out of fear, shame, and out of guilt. But when people like you speak up, it gives all victims, women, men, gender neutral, it gives us all a little bit more courage to do the same in our lives. So thank you. For the rest of us, boundary up. I hope this helps.
Boundary up. You're not allowed to have boundaries. You're not allowed. It's against the rules.
Stay ahead of their games with a copy of the Toxic Playbook. Link in the...
Oh my God. The Toxic Playbook? She's got a book? Okay. I'm going to monetize this text thread now and use it for my monetary benefit. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. This is the utopia we all know and love. Ugh. Okay, keep going.
Bye.
Mom sent me the last TikTok I posted. This is one of the best breakdowns I've seen yet. Oh yeah, that's a great breakdown. I didn't know all these tactics in terms until I shared publicly. The only word I had to fit it was emotional abuse with a narcissistic style. And obviously misogynistic, because he was calling my one-piece Sia swimsuit thongs. Okay, I guess, but like if we're gonna accuse him of saying boundaries and respect is misusing therapy words, we got to say emotional abuse and narcissistic style is sort of also in the same vein. Okay. Many people hear the word abuse and think of physical violence. Physical abuse is one type of abuse, but it is certainly not the only one. I 100% agree. According to the Hotline's 2020 data, 95% of contacts stated they were experiencing emotional abuse. Emotional abuse may not be what most people think about when they picture abuse, but that does not make it any less real or less serious. I agree. Because of its subtleties, emotional abuse can be quite difficult to detect when it is being experienced. Emotional abuse is also a foundation for other forms of abuse. Often it is used to erode a person's self-esteem and self-worth and create a psychological dependency on the abusive partner. Let's look at the emotional abuse, what it is, and how to know if emotional abuse is present in your relationship. Your partner name calls you or demeans you. Okay, to be fair, she also did that back, so they're both emotionally abusing each other. Your partner tries to control you, your time, and your actions. Okay, to be fair again, they both did that to each other. She wanted to control how he dealt with his next girlfriend and how much time was in between and whatever, and he wanted her to stop posting photos and stuff. Okay, your partner tells you what to do and what to wear. Okay, that's definitely on Jonah. Your partner often makes you feel silly or dumb. I don't know, I didn't get that at all from either side. I think they both thought each other were pretty smart. Your partner questions your reality and says that things that you didn't happen. That is called gaslighting. I didn't find that there. So 1, 2, 3. The first 3, this one being Jonah's. These other 2, I think they did to each other. So is that considered? Maybe. I don't know. Your partner is critical of your appearance. Yep, that's Jonah. Your partner is jealous of time spent with your friends or family. Maybe. Yeah, I think so. In a way, perhaps, but I think that's a little vague. Your partner punishes you by withholding attention or affection. I didn't hear that. Your partner doesn't want you hanging out with someone of another gender. Okay, that definitely is on Jonah, for sure. Your partner makes threats to hurt you or others to get what they want. Okay, I didn't hear that. Your partner wants you to ask for permission before doing something or spending time with other people. Okay, that's sort of Jonah. Yeah, I agree. Your partner monitors where you go and stalks you. I'm assuming stalks you. Yeah, I think there was like 3 of them there that apply to Jonah only, from what I can tell. Stalks your whereabouts. I didn't see that. Your partner doesn't want you to work. Now, people will say, yes, that's what he's saying, but I don't know. I think that's a little stretch. Your partner embarrasses you in public. Now, that's her. That is on Sarah to Jonah, embarrassing her in public, or embarrassing him in public, for sure. Okay, that's on her. Your partner does not trust you and acts possessive. Yeah, that's Jonah. Your partner threatens breaking up or divorce to manipulate an argument. I guess that is Jonah too. Your partner wants access to your phone, your password, or your social media. Didn't hear that. Your partner threatens suicide during arguments. Didn't hear that. Your partner is constantly accusing you of cheating. Didn't hear that clearly, at least. Your partner makes you feel guilty. Sorry, your partner blames you for their unhealthy, abusive behaviors. I didn't hear that. Your partner makes you feel guilty or immature for not wanting to have sex. I didn't hear that. And your partner overloads you with compliments and gifts and then uses that to manipulate you later. So, not all, a lot on his part, but again, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm abusive. I feel like there's some of those that apply to myself, and now maybe I need to like work on myself, I guess. But like, okay, for example, here, your partner does not trust you and acts possessive. There's been times in my life where there's been something that has happened where I'm untrustworthy or being possessive of my partner. Does that mean I should like sign up to like go to jail. Like, I don't know. That's like, it's hard to, these things are important, but also it's hard to place your own like issues on it. Like, it kind of applies to a lot of different people. And I agree. Okay, I agree with this. Let me read it. As a survivor of sexual assault and domestic violence, pop culture has been triggering as fuck this week. Abusive behavior exists on a spectrum. Yes. Now, I think this is what I've been saying. It's a spectrum, and I can agree and I can jump on board with some of it, but we need to talk about where on the spectrum this is so it's not like blown out of proportion or minimized. I agree. And dear God, have I had the unfortunate luck of witnessing how behavior on one end of the spectrum can, without you realizing it, desensitize you until things become bad enough that they fit our cultural understanding of abuse. It took me decades to heal. It took me decades to speak. And I'm pretty sure this is the first time I say it so openly on social media. I am in awe of the bravery of Sarah and Match the Source. I don't know what that is. And all the women who have put themselves on the line to call out abusive behavior and imagine a new future where girls and women can see it for what it is. My heart is with survivors forever and always. And it says, I love you, Reddit. And it says, wow, I literally am the best boyfriend on earth. Sorry, I had to laugh. Thank you to whoever sent me a Reddit cares. If you want marriage and kids, best do what I say. Red flags all around. Okay. Okay. This is a lot of like stuff from Reddit. Okay, he liked her because she was a hot surfer chick, but then got pissed when he realized she wasn't going to stop being a hot surfer chick just because she was with him. Exactly. Men like him think they're this ultimate prize, that everything in a woman's life is leading up to winning a man like him, and then they don't need to do that anymore. They still need to be hot and smart and whatever, but not in any way that could draw another man's gaze and threaten his territory. They see women as conquests and not as a whole-ass separate person. It's disgusting on every level. I mean, I guess that's what he could be doing. Okay, I don't want to go through all of these. It's gonna like my voice is going. I want to talk about the Alexa Nicola part 2 before I go. But this part I feel like is a little mean too. It's like, having watched the doc, I could see how Jonah's grief and childhood trauma could make an effective smokescreen. He's good at taking a vulnerable pose. I don't know. It's like, again, I think once people get an idea of what they think, like they've decided like, he's the bad guy, she's the good girl, or like whatever, bad dude, good dudette. People just sort of decide, like, like the one woman we were watching, like, oh, he said that he respects her. Oh, that's a jerk thing to say. Like, you kind of twist it. You can't see it. Like, okay, am I wrong here? Am I wrong? Could I be wrong in this situation? I get it though. And especially if you have a personal experience, it's like you're much more apt to go, oh yes, this is what's going on here. And I agree with it. Personally, I think that's true. Okay, so let's now switch totally gears into something I think he could go to jail for and should, if it's true. It's an allegation, obviously. And here we're going to call allegations what they are, allegations. There's been no court of law that has proven him guilty. So it is an allegation. I don't find there to be any reason as to why she would lie necessarily. So I feel like it's a valid accusation. But this is, I believe, very abusive and something that we should take very seriously. Okay, so it says Zoe 101's Alexa Nicholas, I don't know, accuses Jonah Hill of predatory behavior when she was 16. Okay, so this is quite a while ago, but obviously when he was an adult and she was 16. Unacceptable. Hill's attorney calls claim complete fabrication. Okay. So Jonah Hill has been accused of predatory behavior by Alexa Nichols, the former child star of Zoe 101 fame, in a thread posted to Twitter over the weekend, recounting an alleged incident from the time she was 16. Nicola's comments were prompted by a series of recent Instagram posts by Hill's one-time girlfriend, Sarah Brady, in which she accused the actor of being an emotionally abusive, misogynistic narcissist. Wrote Nichols in the first tweet. Okay, so she wrote, this is Alexis. She wrote on July 8th, after reading Sarah Brady's admirable post about Jonah Hill, I just gotta say, when I was 16, I got invited to a house party at Justin Long's house. He was the guy in Herbie Fully Loaded. Nicholas claimed that at the party, Hill slammed me to the door and shoved his tongue down my throat. I was so appalled, I pushed him off me and ran inside. In response to an inquiry by Deadline, Marty Singer, a litigation attorney for Hill, called Nicholas's accusation a complete fabrication, adding that it never happened. Singer went on to call Nicholas a demonstrably unreliable source and a serial accuser who has made assorted accusations against multiple men in the entertainment industry. Said the actress later in her Twitter thread, "I've been traumatized by men in Hollywood. It's truly sad, the traumatic events I have lodged in my body and mind. Things have to change." Okay, so she is a pretty big proponent of, like I said, I think she like runs a nonprofit or runs a group about like abuse in Hollywood. So that is sort of the angle that the lawyers seem to be taking, like, oh, she just accuses everybody, so who cares? And I find that to be unfair. But it would come up in court, obviously, if this does go to court. I don't know what the legality of it would be in the sense of like statute of limitation. I don't know if California has that or what that would look like. But let's see. She is a big proponent. She has a company or a nonprofit called Eat Predators. # Eat Predators. And she's got a show and podcast coming. And I saw this before this broke, the story.
Yes, please. Thank you.
She's protesting outside of Nickelodeon.
Hi, everyone. So Eat Predators is here at Nickelodeon hosting Slime Time Live. Woo! All right. So do you want to go down the...
Okay, so it says, Eat Predators host Slime Time Live at Nickelodeon. If you're a survivor of child sexual abuse, you have till December in the state of California to get justice. Doesn't matter what year it happened. Oh, there's my answer. If you feel like the time is now, call 1-800-ITS-TIME for legal advice so you can begin that process. The choice is yours and only yours. So, what was I going to say? She was married when she was 19, and she also sued her ex-husband, who was a singer, I believe. But it got dropped. They were married for 4 years when she was 19 to Milosh, Canadian musician. He is an electronic musician from Toronto who's based in LA. And he was accused of grooming and abusing her by her. And he denies it, and he is countersuing against her attorneys for filing the case, suing them for so-called malicious prosecution. So she says he groomed me, and she was pretty young when they got married. This is what this part is. This is just side notes about her, and then in relation to the Jonah stuff. Okay, so she sued her ex-husband, Michael Milosh, alleging abuse and sexual grooming. She says he groomed her as a minor and was abusing her over the course of their marriage. According to court documents, Milosh, 45, allegedly utilized his power of authority and seniority over her, as well as years of sexual grooming as a minor child to manipulate her into trusting him. Upon gaining her trust, he terrorized, sodomized, and abused her as part of his continuous conduct aimed at satisfying his prurient and economic desires. I don't know what that word is. The suit also names the corporate entities which Nicholas claims knew about his behavior. So I'm assuming maybe Nickelodeon? I don't know. Meanwhile, the record labels, management companies, and other corporate entities enabled him by supporting him financially and ratifying his misconduct despite knowledge that she was a minor and continuing to suffer abuse even after the age of majority. With the lawsuit, she's seeking justice for the years of emotional, sexual, psychological, and financial torture she suffered. Okay, the records further document how she met the musician, a frontman in the band Rye, when she was 16 and he was 33, claiming that he was flirtatious from the time They met despite knowing her age and regularly sought pornographic photos from her. Yeah, this is disgusting. He then allegedly used his status in the industry, authority, seniority, fame, and her trust to sexually assault her, and continued to do so after they got married in 2012. The pair divorced in 2019. The years of childhood sexual assault and grooming prevented her from realizing the emotional trauma, damage, and control bestowed upon her. So she talks about him pressing her arms into her throat and screaming, "Shut up." Yeah, we don't have to go into the details, but pretty serious bad stuff. Now, the case got thrown out, I believe, or dismissed, and now he's countersuing. So that's what happened. But she said she's going to refile. So that's where that's at. So not to end on a bad note or a horrendous note, but that is the final piece of that story, at least for tonight. Yeah, I'm sorry again if I have a totally different opinion on this topic. I know it's a little bit more risque, I guess, or like anti-feminist to feel this way, but I want to be honest, and I feel like it's everyone that's watching, like, I don't do you a service. It's a disservice to lie about how I feel if I feel a certain way, but I feel like I want to, like, I kind of know what, like, the right thing to say is. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like sometimes people on these channels that sort of like pick apart these online things tend to like side on the victim side all the time, always. And I understand that, but it's also like, I just feel like we should look at the facts, or at least look at it and be open-minded. And I know that's offensive to some people, and I understand it, but it's almost like me lying to you that I privately feel this way, but I'm publicly saying like, oh yeah, he's a jerk. And I believe, I don't know. I just want to be myself. So if that's offensive, I get it, but I don't want to lie about who I am and what I think. And maybe I'll change, and that's okay. It's hard out here to be a creator. And it's tough to give your opinion. It is. Otherwise, you'll be in a cult. That's what I have to say.
It hurts. It stings.
That's how I feel about all the haters. I'm just kidding. All right, everybody. Let's now end the stream. Merch is available. If you're looking for a walking, not treadmill, a walking pad to walk on, walk off all the anger you have at me after this, there's a link below to a Amazon walking pad that I also use when I am rageful. And I'm going to say thank you to all of the supporters, the members. And we are far off, I believe, from getting a new emote. So we'll have to replace an old one. Yeah. And if you want to join the membership, join the membership. It's available still. The link is below as well. And yeah, I'll come back soon. And we'll do another fun story. We'll do more Hollisville, maybe. That seems to be everyone's a fan favorite. All right, everybody. Peace. Yoo-hoo, yodel, 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 yoo-hoo. Starry nights in Hawaii. They have pineapples by the plenty. Nicole Campbell is a big fan of Dole. Specifically, the pineapple in a can. Heather DeMaio says, I personally like the off-brand pineapple. What brand is that? Mole. These pineapples are grown underground. A Consul's like, no, I only get potatoes from under the ground. And Tiffany's like, potatoes? I say, potatoes. That's something we can all agree on. No one in the entire world has ever said potato without saying potato first. And that's a fact. Tiffany agrees. Totally. So does Chels Marie. She's never said patata or tomato either. That's another one no one says. Rainy Cannon. Rainy Cannon's like, I just wanna go back to the pineapple conversation. Did you know there's a pink pineapple? At least at my local grocer, it comes in a box. Isn't that weird? I'm Dutch. Isn't that weird? That's from Austin Powers. Alaska Blood Tundra's favorite movie of all time. Austin Powers, number 3. Gold member. Crystal G loves Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. Because that is the OG one. I recently watched that one, Austin Powers 1, and it was really good. It stands alone. It's a winner. Lisa B does not agree. She likes Austin Powers number 2, which is that one? What's the name of Austin Powers number 2? Second one. What's it called? International. No, I lied. I messed it up. Kim Possible 11. I'm sorry for messing it up. The first Austin Powers movie came out in 1997. It's called The International Man of Mystery. Charlotte already knew that and told me. She's my spirit guide. The second Austin Powers movie that came out in 1999. That one was the one called Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. And that's when Mini-Me came along for the ride. Right, Joms? You knew that. Vern Troyer. That's when he made his debut in the Austin Powers universe. Joms like, yeah, I knew that. I'm aware. I run the Vern Troyer Wikipedia. And casual pasta. It's not a fancy pasta. Just like Beyonce would never eat a casual pasta. Speaking of Beyonce, Carasota, did you know that Beyonce was the star of Austin Powers number 3? That one again is called Austin Powers Gold Member, which may be my personal favorite of the entire series because it's so silly. Heather Hope says nope. You're canceled. The third one is the worst. How dare you? I love Michael Caine. Michael Caine is my main fan on this channel. He subscribes. No, he doesn't. I don't think he has YouTube. Not Jenna Cash. Hold on. Not Jenna Cash. She's like, I've never seen Austin Powers. I don't know what the heck you're talking about. Who is Mike Myers? Who is Seth Green? I am not keen on who these people and what they mean. El Cholo's Kid. Who's your favorite character from Austin Powers? Everyone wants to know. Is it number 2? Mini-Me? Dr. Evil? Austin Powers? Or Felicity? Or Foxy Cleopatra? Alice in Wonderland 66, how about ya? Which one do you like the most? There is so many that we can choose from. What about Nigel Powers? Or Carrie Ann Inaba, who played Fook Yu. She's also a self-help guru. We'll talk about her at some time in the future, probably. And Anne. What about this man named Basil Exposition, I mean. Or Robert Wagner. Or Mustafa, played by Will Ferrell. He's got a fez cap on. Lindsay Walden. What do you think about Frau Farbissina? Or Vanessa Kensington? Can you believe that Britney Spears played a fembot in Austin Powers number 3? And Tom Cruise and Gwyneth Paltrow were also in the movie. So many problematic people in a 5-minute span. It was Tom Cruise, then Gwyneth Paltrow, then Kevin Spacey, followed by a very unproblematic man, Danny DeVito, in the opening scene. This will go down in history. That took a turn, but I liked where it went. All right, good night. Talk to you soon. Bye.